bend on it. So like you can get really good gumbo there, for example. At a
Nice.
diner. And it's just weird, yeah. And then the rest of the food is just high quality food, but it's diner food, and that's something I really like about it. So I can get real southern fried chicken with the gravy and all that. But they serve these cakes, and every time I've gone in, I haven't gotten one. And they're 4-layer cakes. You know what I mean? So it's like they're comically sized. And I don't know, I'm just jazzed up about that for some reason. But for some reason I'm looking at it and I just don't have the youthful desire for sugar, you know.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I've been to Creole places before. They're fantastic. The gumbo is definitely what you should start with. But I've never tried the desserts. I have no idea what they're like.
Well, this is basically just a diner dessert place, but they do have like whoever's doing the desserts is a different person, I think, than cooks in the back of the kitchen and the head chef.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a bunch of interesting meringues and that kind of thing. And I don't know, it's just an interesting place that's in my neighborhood, and people have seen it a lot in commercials. I bet they'd recognize it. But I don't know. I just that's what's been going on. I don't know.
Well,
I like food.
Get some tea, maybe. I don't know. That makes you feel a little more digestible. Something hot and.
Well, I had tea with my meal, so now I'm just having a little bit of coffee to finish it off, and I was like, Smudcast is going on, and nobody's answering.
I know, we're all like,
Where's everybody at?
does anyone want to do this video?
Sorry, my bad. I just came in a little bit late. I apologize. Is this
No, it's
even
fine.
Renegade Cut? It doesn't look like Renegade Cut, like the icon I'm seeing.
It's not a Renegade Cut. This guy's channel, let me just see his name. Matt Baume is a channel dedicated to apparently LGBTQ elements in film and TV and all the landmarks therein. So I'm guessing this is a landmark. I don't know. I watched the first 5 minutes of this. I'm like, this is a stretch. It's not a bad stretch. It's just a stretch. So you could take it with whatever you like. So it's fine. It's not offensive. It's just a little strange and even a little funny. So that's okay in my book.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, why not?
I don't mean, if that's what the people want, then give people what they want.
Well, I'm going to be implementing a new public voting method because you guys are so lax on what you want to do. I understand you're busy.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, so everyone's...
That sounds like a good
I
idea.
think it's a great idea.
What's going to happen? Everyone's going to give recommendations. I'm going to be watching a bit of the recommendations. Some I'll reject, but most of them I'll pretty much say yes to. I'll then have multiple tiers of voting, and everyone can vote for what we should be covering, as well as if you want to join this podcast for that individual episode, that would be fine. I'm totally open to having new guys come on and talk about because we're not the most educated and informed folks when it comes to these videos. That's how we got BB on here. He had a very select few of videos that we weren't covering. Say, hey, you know what? It's been a month. We haven't touched your video yet. Come on over. And that's how that starts. So it's really just about getting the community involved, getting the voting going, and getting more responses from you guys. Because I know you have a lot of stuff we want to cover, and we're just not the right crack team to do it. You know, we got a lot going on in our lives. We got jobs, we got relationships, we got bills to pay, we got sleep. Well, Shiny doesn't have sleep. He just sort of does stuff, and I don't know how.
I work till I sleep. That's how it works for me.
You just keep going until you collapse. Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Same with your bathroom routine and your wash routine. Just sort of whatever. Go to the bathroom.
So did the gays kill the dinosaurs?
It's not that silly. No, it's not that silly of a video. But
The big gay was the biggest enemy of the big dinos.
It's the dinos just found their sex so attractive that they just stopped breeding. That's what killed the dinosaurs.
interestingly enough, it's going to be a metaphor. It's not going to be literally.
Great.
Yeah,
A
about
literal metaphor.
What I wanted.
it's metaphor.
Gay dinos.
We could always not do it. No.
Yeah, I mean, there's always other options for videos.
We could watch
Yeah, we
anything
could-
else, literally.
Oh, like Renegade Cut.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
it's not Renegade
What?
Cut.
that's even worse.
Oh my God,
Baggy-
communism, you guys.
Yeah, it is much
Communism.
worse.
Oh,
To cover
socialism.
Baggy Bay Fish.
Well, no, we've had our fill for this month
No,
of the
Yeah.
Well,
fish.
the next
I
month.
think any amount is already the fill. Even
We should-
nothing.
We should watch memory TV videos.
I'm trying to figure out what those are.
And memory TV is the it's the non-Arab translation of like these religious ideological talk shows and stuff. And the I can't tell if it's propaganda, but the translations are always comical. And sometimes the actual subjects are like, I will beat you with this shoe if I see you. That kind of thing.
Oh,
It's amazing.
sounds like
I'm
a lot
not
of
suggesting we actually watch it, but it's better than Are Dinosaurs Gay? I don't really care. They all died, whether or not they were gay.
Message coming in.
Unless there's some dinosaurs out
Patching
there
it
that are
through.
still alive. If you are, report them to your local anti-dinosaur task force. Can't
Oh,
have those cold-blooded reptiles walking around. You know what I mean?
well, I guess another option is Patrick. He's put out a lot of
Maybe
videos
all the
lately.
dinos went the big gay, and then God didn't like that, so God's like, okay, I'm going to start all over again and just clean slate.
That's what I would do.
Mhm.
All these dinos, they're doing the big gay.
well, the latest
Pacific Rim that just wasn't polluted enough.
the latest video from this
Has to
guy is
be-
called Bob Newhart and the Masked Doctor Who Cured the Gays. So,
Oh my God, this guy's obsessed with this.
well, this
You know, I was
He's
thinking
got
about
a-
this.
Maybe he's got a fetish.
For gayness.
Fetish.
I think he's
is
gay.
his
Yeah, I
fetish?
think that's
Is that
it.
what you're
Yeah.
saying?
I think that's all there is to
Gee,
it.
what would ever give you that impression?
Uh,
So he's basically discount Rantasmo.
oh, yeah. Okay.
No, the thing is that people can't like get people ironically have to like keep this. It's like a ritual up. Like I have to keep talking about how interesting I am because of my sexuality, and you never see that with people that are straight unless they're talking about their fetishes, which I always find interesting. You know,
You always find fetishes interesting. Okay.
no, I'm saying that.
Good to know.
I'm saying that people that like to talk about their sexuality all the time are usually fetishists. Do you understand what I'm saying there?
No, I think you're trying to say that you find fetishes interesting.
I think the
Well, that's absolutely true. How do you? There's so much psychological disorder in that
like
layer
how-
of subculture communals.
How one of the guys who ran Game of Thrones, David Benioff, has a clear fetish for brown women throughout his work.
That's interesting. See, you find a pattern in that, and that's like people pointing out Quentin Tarantino's foot fetish. It's like it comes out in the code. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
that's interesting. But what is not interesting to me is fetishization, and that's something that I get really bored by because there are people that just are like fanatically obsessed with something, and it's not because of like how it relates to them; it's how it relates to their sexuality, and that's what I think these videos are, is that they're fetishized videos. That's why I'm a little disturbed by them. You know, it's the same fascination I get when somebody. Have you ever seen those documentaries about people that like marry bridges and stuff? Or they're like,
What?
oh my God, the Eiffel Tower is really sexy. You ever see that?
I-
I've never
I-
seen
I
that.
mean,
Shiny?
I've never seen the Eiffel Tower and thought I want to stick my dick in it.
well,
No, but there are people. There's at least a couple dozen people across the planet that are like that.
there
Really
was
married to the Eiffel Tower.
yeah, but there are
They're
stories of
really
because of the certain cultures in the world where you're
The
pretty
Eiffel
much
Tower's a bit of a hoe, then, isn't it? If it's marrying so many people.
What
well.
were we saying, Smud?
I was trying to say about there's certain cultures like some aspects of Japanese culture where people are so isolated that they find solace in either virtual characters or inanimate objects, and they do in fact marry their digital representation of either they're playing a literature game or some sort of waifu simulator, and they will marry their Nintendo DS cartridge or whatever the game is they're playing, and that's totally legal. You could do this, and that's weird as hell. So
it's totally legal and it's weird as hell. We need to put a stop to this.
Well, no, it's not, don't put a stop to it.
Bring back authoritarianism. Stop the waifu marriages.
You could marry whatever you want. It's just fascinating to hear these stories and the reasoning behind
marriage
them.
is between a man and his VTuber, not a man and his. It was Adam and Gargura, not Adam and Steve. Okay.
It's a fascinating thing to see how people are associating their emotions with in the physical world, and it's all this wonderful projection in their heads of why they like. Well, it's the same thing with virtual characters in a book. Same with characters in a movie. That you're fascinated, you're obsessed with some aspect, and you personify that. You have this image in your mind, and that is the thing that is most emotional to you, because you react so emotionally to media these days, whether it's a video game or even a manga, even a simple comic book. You'll react so strongly because they're written and created in such a way to enact those emotions, and they're dramatic. That's pretty much all. They're basically Michael Bay films for drama. It's like watching soap opera from South America. They exist for 1 year or one season and they're gone. And like, what was that all about? Something about moms and dads, and someone lost a son and they came back and they're done. The season's over and you never see this story ever again. So there's something for everyone in every culture in a certain medium, which is high octane drama, and people take it personally for obvious reasons.
I subscribe to the Patrice O'Neill philosophy of the emptiness factor, which is I think that people have an emptiness inside that is part of their conscious or subconscious process that needs to be filled by things, and what they choose is also dependent on certain biological impulses. So like you have to eat, so you have a desire for your chicken nuggets, you know what I mean? You got to sleep, so you got to have, your comfy blankie. And then, you have sexual needs and all that. So the hierarchy of
damn right, I want my comfy blankie.
Bankly?
Can't take my blankie away from me.
Is blankie...
Shiny's blanket is called Bankley.
Is that a UK thing?
You're Mr. Bankley.
No, I fucked up. I was in the middle of drinking and I just fucked up the word.
I know. That's what I'm saying though. Is that
blankly the blanket? You can't take it away from me.
We're taking pre-orders for the Bankley blanket, which is Shiny's custom blankie everybody can get. It's like Dr. Disrespect's glasses. But anyway, so the thing that I'm trying to point out here is that there are people that are trying to fill a need, and what they find appropriate. That's what these communities are built around. Is people going, "Oh my God, you also like Thomas the Tank Engine meme porn? Me too, dude. I fucking love it. Here comes the train." It's all sorts of weird shit. And it's usually based on the child's the way that the child processed the early thoughts from their prepubescence and what they were interested in. It's a form of arrested development. My name's Sigmund Freud and Stein, and
it's not a thing, is it?
Well,
that can't be a thing.
When he was referring to, when Glib was referring to chicken McNuggets and basic needs and all these things, then you associate pleasure with those areas. You try to find the best chicken, try to find the best mattress and this and that. It becomes this personal experience. Then you become focused, like, oh, you're a sleep mattress guru. Like you go around finding the best mattress or hammock or the best pillow, that sort of thing. You become so focused on that thing because now that you're interested in it, it's very important to you. And now this is part of your interest, part of your hobbies. You're now known for being the mattress guy. The same way, because I was really big into dining out, I'm suddenly the guy to ask for restaurants. Like everyone asks me, "Oh, did you go to this place yet? Did you go to that place?" Like, no, I've never heard of that place. Leave me alone. So it's like this kind of thing where they just assume, or people assume that you know it because you have this body of knowledge that no one else does. But, it's kind of like learning about wine. There's millions of bottles of wine out there. There's no way a sommelier or even a moviegoer will know every film out there, but he'll know the genres. He'll know the period pieces. He'll know the famous landmarks and say, oh, yeah, I know, the Maltese Falcon. Sure, I'm not a noir guy, but I know, Dashiell Hammett and all these other writers that they took stories from and made into plays or movies. So it's kind of esoteric. It's kind of things that you think is important to you at the time, and if it is, it keeps going on in your life. So it really is an obsession at that point. If it keeps going to the point of hedonism to perversion, I guess.
Yeah. See, that's the thing is that I think that my theory has always been that people are misappropriating or misinterpreting, like signals are getting crossed. So you might have a social need for recognition amongst your peer group. And when that gets confused with the sexual need for gratification from, whatever, love or romance, however you want to call it, then you get like a whore, that kind of situation. Somebody who's a nymphomaniac. When they're seeking social or sexual circuitry their goal is separate from the need that should be fulfilled in what we would call not a proper way, but a healthy way. And I don't even know, you could interpret that in different ways. But I think that people are not necessarily being very objective about what is the common needs and desires and requirements for human beings to be satisfied on a daily basis. And then within that is the deep philosophical question and the reality that we live in, which is we're in a survival state. So we can't ever totally be comfortable. We always have to constantly be working. We want the abstract of being able to improve ourselves or achieve whatever our dreams are, and to different degrees, that kind of thing. So that's when I see a lot of these videos that get sent in, I'm thinking, okay, what is this compensating for in another area? So why is Renegade Cut making a fucking YouTube video about communism or socialism? But it's really about Kevin McAllister, you know what I mean? What is he so obsessed about? What is the other part that he's not telling you that is making him want to go and do what they do? You know what I mean? So
when he changes his avatar to Disco Elysium character, which was a lot of stream of consciousness thoughts of the proletariat versus capitalism, and I was like, whoa, okay, I could see why a communist would appreciate that video game, but that's not the whole story. That's just one aspect of that crazy detective's mind. It's not, or that setting. It's not the whole setting or the whole part of his mind. But he zeroed in on that, like, oh, this is a game that pokes fun at this dichotomy. And you're like, okay, yeah, did you play the rest of the game? That's like a small element. So, yeah, there's a fascination with this politic, with this sexuality. This gentleman who wrote an entire YouTube channel dedicated to talking about homosexuality in film and TV is, someone's going to do it. Someone's bound. Some liberal-minded folk is going to do it for the sake of it. And,
see, I'm not saying he shouldn't do it or that it's wrong for him to do it, but I'm just noting. I'm like, hey, what's going on here?
Pattern.
There's something interesting going on here. Why are you so upset? Why are you so obsessed with this one aspect? Because I like film a lot. There's no one aspect that is more interesting than another aspect. You know what I mean? There's nothing there's nothing novel that I look for that I'm obsessed with to this level where I want to dedicate a whole channel to it. You know what I mean? Except like I had a channel where I was doing edits of stuff, but it was, even that was varied. So I'm always confused when somebody is so single-minded about something. Like, there are people like stamp collecting. What is it about why stamps? Why China plates? Why Furby? Why collect one of a pattern? It's like
also have a question of a similar nature. Why the fuck do people collect Funko Pops?
See, that's another one. I don't know. I can't solve that. I require scientific research and a grant of $1 billion. But I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I always find it interesting to think at least about the people, but listening to them is a little intolerable. I know this video is going to be hot garbage. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
All right.
At least
it's not cutting out.
Yeah. Dunn, you're really choppy.
At least we haven't even started it yet.
Yeah, well, it's a 16-minute video. I saw the first 5 minutes. Went by rather quickly, so it wasn't that bad. It was easy to understand. It was just silly at certain points. And then his idea breaks down, and he's trying to defend it. It's like, oh, it's not good. So let's get started.
Did homosexuality kill the dinosaurs? You might think you know the answer, but first, consider the perspective of the very weird early 90s sitcom Dinosaurs.
Okay, so that's already a wow. How do we go from the removal of an entire species to now a sitcom in the 90s about a family of I don't know. That's a very strange
basically Flintstones reversed.
Yeah, it's like the Flintstones. You're right. Only more 90s family oriented drama. So
during giant tents and puppets that tackled timely topics like war and drugs and race, and yes, they even had an episode with a thinly veiled metaphor for homosexuality, along with parents who overcome intolerance. And in a weird twist, the episode echoes theories about real-life dinosaur behavior that were put forward by a real-life gay Transylvanian dinosaur hunter 100 years ago.
Okay, whoa. Gay Transylvanian dinosaur hunter, not an archaeologist, not a guy who studies old stuff or paleontology or anything like that. A hunter of dinosaurs.
Maybe he hunted their bones for a collection or something.
That's paleontology.
Like treasure hunter.
That's not. That's not a. No, just no.
Yeah, they just used dinosaur hunter because it sounds cooler. But yeah, you're right. It's paleontology.
I seriously hope. Yeah.
All aboard. Welcome to a truly wild episode of Culture Cruise, where we dive deep on LGBTQ milestones in entertainment. And by the way, big thanks to everyone.
What is he dressed as? What is this, a sailor? Like, what is
sailor? Yep, a sailor.
He's dressed as a stereotype.
A stereotype, yeah. I was like, that's pretty much what you are, buddy. Like, why would you do that to yourself? Just say you're a gay man and be done with it. Dress normally.
Oh, no. You have to know that he is.
Yeah, he has to look like a complete retard. And I'm gay. It's like, just say you're gay.
No, we don't care.
No one cares. But
it's the theme. Look,
silly.
There's
the theme
of the background that he has, where it's just two pictures that end at an arbitrary point.
Therefore, sailor. Okay, I guess.
Maybe.
Hey, sailor.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Glib.
Welcome to the boat!
Is it too late for me to go?
No, you can leave anytime you want. Get out while you still can.
Yeah, get out while you still can. It's probably a good idea.
Shiny! Run!
Fly, you fool.
Possible on folks like Ross Gibson, Holly the Small, and David N. If you're enjoying these videos, head over to Patreon to check out the rewards for backers and hit the subscribe bell for more videos like this. So let's talk about Dinosaurs, the weirdest show to air on ABC's TGI Fridays block, next to such conventional shows as Full House and Boy Meets World.
Is this going to be a play on words?
Like Jim Henson in the
the Get Homosexuality Killed the Dinosaurs, the TV show, because they were too progressive or something?
I don't think so. I think he's just going into this because there's a reference he can use, and then he's going to go back to some nonsense about 65 million years ago, I guess. I don't know.
65 million years ago, Earth was a sitcom.
It's got to be about how, the execs panicked after that episode, but it can't be legit. It can't be.
Late 80s. He wanted to make a sitcom about a messy family in a flawed society that drives itself to extinction. His idea was The Last Days of the Dinosaurs, an idea that went nowhere for years because no one thought an idea like that could possibly work. But then a different show about a messy family happened. The Simpsons was a huge hit, and suddenly every network was looking for their own version of the same thing. For whatever reason, ABC decided that a show with giant animatronic dinosaur puppets fit the bill, and Dinosaurs was hatched. It's a standard sitcom setup: a dumb dad named Earl, plucky wife named Fran, a teenager with an attitude named Robbie. proud daughter Charlene, and
It looks
the baby,
really
a talking
shit.
generator of catchphrases.
It kind of does, yeah.
That there were similarities between the shows was not lost on anyone.
These talking dinosaurs are more real than most
Hey,
real
it's
families
Lisa.
on TV. It's like they
I like
our lives
Lisa.
and put it right up on screen.
That's a
From the start,
TV
the
show I
did
do like.
okay, not great, which meant that executives were fairly hands-off. The showrunners could tackle topics that might have been a little too edgy for Step by Step. The gay episode came at the start of season 2.
The gay episode.
Everything was fine until the gays attacked.
Is it like the out and out AIDS episode of frickin' Captain Planet?
Oh no.
Where they actually where they actually talk about sex and drugs with needles, and they say that's a possible cause for this kid being HIV positive.
Oh,
that was the same time they had they had was it like cartoons like Sailor Moon and what have you, have like Sailor Says at the end, the last 30 seconds to put in the whatever public announcement about being good or being nice or
PSAs.
They're
kind of like PSAs, yeah, I guess.
Like
it wasn't a PSA.
Like Sonic is the best one.
It wasn't a PSA. It was the actual. It wasn't a PSA. It was an
Captain
actual
Planet is
plot
all
of an episode.
Just bullshit, global warming, fucking propaganda shit. You know what I mean?
The whole show is a PSA. Yeah.
Somehow the how they managed to get like Jeff Gold, bunch of other like relatively big name actors.
I know how to do that. Just give them money. I mean, a lot of money. Or they have to be brainwashed too.
A blackmail. Blackmail's also an option.
Oh,
yeah, we need to get a blackmail on there as well. Absolutely, for diversity.
Oh dear. Jake the Surgeon, what autism have I entered? Is he talking about the show or the actual creatures?
Gay autism.
Oh no, because it's about the animals. I will annihilate him harder than Tyrone. Oh. We're not sure yet. He's getting there. Here's Bogue. Frag you, Shiny Dinosaurs was great. Oh, really? You like the show? I never actually got into it. I never got a chance to watch it.
Good for you.
I like any prosthetic animal goofy show because it's usually the same people doing the technical stuff and it's a little charming. But there's so much cringy stuff from that era of television.
In late one, and it never explicitly references sexuality, but the metaphor is just blindingly obvious.
Okay, so a metaphor is not blindingly obvious. That's not what metaphors are. It's like saying someone's a couch potato. If you don't know what a couch potato is, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You assume someone's sitting on something. It could be a couch and looks like a potato. The same with a simile. Metaphors are more direct, whereas similes are more like something is a couch potato. So I think the most famous simile I could think of is what is that? One from Forrest Gump. Life is like a box of chocolates. Life is like a box of chocolate. There's a little bit of philosophy in there. You don't know what's going to happen, so you're already on shaky ground when you're talking about a metaphor. The same way you're saying this is an analogy or an allegory yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you have to be very careful with your terms here because English lits have already gone, yeah, that's technically true, but how does that relate? How strong is the connection between the words? And in most cases, it's not very strong. So when people make all these connections, like, the Matrix is really an allegory for transgenderism, you're like, no, it's not. There's really
That's post talk.
Yeah, so there's all these silly literary criticisms of shows that are really weak, and it's just annoying to hear them. And if you want to start working in this idea of your favorite thing, like sex or food or Star Wars, whatever it is like another thing, you're like, oh, okay, Star Trek is like Star Wars. You're right. There's technology and people in spaceships, and that's about it. Okay. You can talk about very technical things, but you're talking about totally different ideas, different series, different characters, different plots, different scenarios, storytelling techniques. It's just so far removed And people try to make these connections for whatever reason. I don't get it. Anyway.
It opens with some talk about the Young Men's Carnivore Association, the YMCA.
Carnivores.
When I was initiated down at the Y, made either of me.
Yes, as the song says, the YMCA offers many ways to have a good time. Their son, Robbie, is supposed to be at the Y participating in a manhood rite of passage, eating another dinosaur. But he confesses he just couldn't go through with it.
Yeah, some carnivore I'd turn out to be.
Did you ever think that maybe you're herbivore?
No,
you're an herbivore.
So this is the metaphor that the show's going to go with. Herbivores are the outcasts
you
of
fucking
society. They're the ones looked down
herbivore.
on, they're shunned.
Homivore.
The show uses language in the scene that pretty clearly mirrors the kind of dialogue you'd hear in a very special episode about a gay kid.
A lot of dinosaurs eat vegetables from time to time, including me.
a lot of dinosaurs have sex with other males and females. Like what?
Of course, just what dinosaurs were known for, being very adaptable with its diet.
It's one thing to say.
I'm sure the T-Rex could just start being a herbivore on the spot.
It's one thing to say I'm attracted to males in a certain way. That's fine, but you're not saying occasionally I have sex with males. It's like wait, slow down. Like how did we get from A to Z so quickly?
Oh, just occasionally.
It's just like what? Very strange jump, but okay.
How long have you known? Well, I always kind of suspected. Ever since I was 12, whenever I see vegetables, I feel kind of hungry.
There's just no ambiguity here about what they're talking about. It's almost identical to lines on other shows.
How long have you known that you were gay?
How long have you known that you were?
You think you have some
an
sort of
herbivore.
special buzzbadar or something?
Dirty
okay,
vegan.
you know there's a better word for that, right?
Dave even goes so far as
Okay, that was silly. That's just not the same.
Me and your father always knew you were a vegan.
This is a
Good
literal
disgrace.
This is a literal example in another show where they talk explicitly about the topic. And it's like, oh, it sounds just like this other show that does this thing exactly the same way. It's like, no, they're talking about the literal thing. And here they're saying, this could be anything. This could be any 1 to 2 or 1 to 2 to 3 or 1.5 to 2. Take, sexuality works in that capacity because there's bisexuality. Swimming and not swimming, I guess, no, there's no floating. I don't swim, I float. There's people who don't know how to swim, but they know how to float. What else is there? I'm trying to think. Where you're doing something halfway. Dualism. Okay, more philosophies where you're materialistic or idealistic. There's dualistic or Cartesian dualism. You're a dualist, you're not. Politics. There's all kinds of divisions where you have certain kinds of economics versus certain kinds of political theories. So there's centrists, there's libertarians, you have anarcho / communists, anarcho / capitalists, etc. So there's all these versions that you can go halfway with. So I think it can be a metaphor for those things as well. It's just not as common as sexuality.
A salad bar.
I sneak out of the house on weekends.
A gay
I go
bar.
to this vegan place
Salads.
across town. Why don't you check it out with me sometime?
No thanks.
There's really nothing else this metaphor could be about. But then
Yikes.
in the next scene, things get a little murky. When Robbie gets home, everyone's about to sit down to a dinner of something, Dad, I'm not sure what, and Robbie starts asking some uncomfortable questions.
Why should I rip apart some poor mastodon?
Bigger eat smaller in the carnivore kingdom. That's the way it is. That's the way it's always been.
So there you have it. Earl's setting up some laws of nature. That's going to be even more
Message
important
coming
later
in.
on. For now,
no.
the show's setting up that these parents are fairly conservative. Tradition matters in this house. They don't care for any changes to their carnivorous routine. Big eats small. Those are the rules.
Why don't you
Don't
just
question it
try
unless you wanna
breathing
get
pure
into trouble.
nitrogen?
You know, it's
Oxygen is just traditional.
Vegetables. Uh-oh.
Well, it's happened, Franny. The Green Menace has crept into our very home.
Okay, but here's where the metaphor gets a little mushy.
God.
Yes. Based and green pilled.
What is the Green Menace another metaphor for? Unless it's not sex, what would it be?
Communism.
Communism? Is that the general idea? I don't know.
That would be the Red Menace.
The Red
Green
Menace?
Menace. It's
Okay.
communism.
So how much money?
I don't know. Maybe green would be the Green Party.
Well, that's true. There is a Green Party in politics. We have one in Canada too. But traditionally, the Red Menace was a thing.
Tree-hugging fucktards.
That's part of it. That's a nice way of putting it, actually.
Plan-ass motherfucker.
Yeah. Okay, so now there's going to be...
Fuck a plant if you love it so much.
So now there's another metaphor or play on words directly connecting politics. So it's kind of breaking down or not making much sense of his sexual metaphor, which she should now abandon and jump to the new one, right? Makes more sense.
About the is probably a reference to the Red Menace, a moral panic over communism
that
took place around the 1950s. You could
fucking communists. They're vegans.
And say it's a reference to the Lavender Scare, a moral panic over homosexuality that took place around the same time. But then Earl has this line.
Are you now, or have you ever been an herbivore?
Well, that settles that. That line is almost a verbatim copy from the McCarthy hearings. Are you now, or have you ever been a
Have you ever been a
virgin,
vegan, vegetarian?
A little slippery. It was about homosexuality at first. Now it's about communism. And when the parents search Robbie's room, the metaphor slips again, and now it's about drugs.
Broccoli!
Pretty funny joke.
So we went from sex to communism to drugs. The metaphor has now officially...
Wow, that was quick.
Yeah, it jumped 3 times. So yeah, we can't say this metaphor is very accurate. It's not very effective. It's not very clear.
Also, we're making good time though. Like all things considered, we're like a third of the way in.
Yeah, I know, but this is the problem with the metaphor. It has to be consistent, or it's not a very good metaphor for the thing you think it is. So you have to then focus on the thing it actually is, which is non-metaphorical, which is obviously carnivorous or herbivores. So it's, just take it for what the story is worth. Stop trying to imagine this silly idea that you have in your head. You have 2 examples that it's not, or it's something. It's some other metaphor, which is a weak connection anyway. But you could have easily have had a channel on communism. You could have easily had a channel on drugs and said exactly the same thing.
Someone at school must have given it to him.
I don't love that the show seems to be associating homosexuality with drug use, but it seems like what they're going for is anything that parents might disapprove of. And that certainly seems to be the case at the gay bar, or the communist bar, or the drug bar. Robbie sneaks out to check out the scene, and
fucking commie bar bastards
metaphor.
Using drugs.
Like totally herbophobic.
But the bar's also full of hippie dinosaurs from the 60s, so maybe the metaphor is about counterculture now? The hippie vibe just seems kind of goofy today, but in 1991, the 60s were only like 20 to 30 years earlier, and adults watching the show might associate the 60s with the time when they were young and rebelled against their parents. And whether it's homosexuality or communism or drugs or long hair...
Okay, so this guy's all over the map now. He is just losing the plot and not actually enjoying the story for what it's about, whatever the episode and all the characters. I don't know all the characters and how they interact with each other and what they mean. But it's clearly just designed for primetime families in the 90s with, I guess, is that like mom and dad, daughter, son? Is that the typical idea that these were aimed towards? So
it's just family comedy junk.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So all this idea, it's really about sexuality. Oh, it's really about drugs. Oh, it's really about the 60s counterculture. It's like, wait, no, you're wrong, because it's not consistent. So, here's Jake the Surgeon. Thank you, sir. This sounds like a parody of those episodes. Yeah, it's almost as if the whole show is a parody, because obviously they have a bunch of dinosaurs enacting family life and trying to put ideas in there that one of those shows would be about. I think that's part of the appeal of that show. At least I would think so. And if you like dinosaurs, it works out if you have little kids. Andrew Clark, it's joke based on those episodes, a mix of all. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. There's a little bit you could read into a little bit, but there's not much else to it. It's not like this big analogy of sex and kids growing up and whatever. It's like, no, it's all of those things.
Parental conflict with kids is at the heart of this episode. Earl drags Robbie out to a swamp to show him how to kill and eat smaller creatures. Remember, bigger eats smaller. That's Earl's law of nature. Unfortunately, they didn't count on there being larger creatures than them in the swamp. A swamp monster appears and, hey, he looks familiar. Oh, yep, there he is. He's also appeared in the Movie in a Movie in 1989's Monster Maker. There's nothing particularly gay about this fact. I just think it's neat. Also, I like showing off my knowledge of Henson trivia.
Why would there need to be something gay about the fact?
Because it's a gay channel, Shiny. He has to talk about the gay.
It's all about gayness.
The big
in this biz.
Gay.
Jim Henson is partially potentially, metaphorically, analogously gay. Maybe not.
Or ambiguously
gay. That's perfect, yeah. We don't know. We're not even sure.
Trudges home to tell his wife their son is dead. It's grim, but Earl says there's nothing they can do. That's just the law of nature.
Well, what do you want me to do, Franny? The laws of nature clearly state that the bigger eat smaller.
The laws of nature also state that we protect our young, no matter what.
Now, this is an interesting line for a couple of reasons. Remember, the relationship between parents and kids is central to this episode. And now that law of nature that Earl was so fond of, bigger eats smaller, it's taken a toll on his own family that he didn't expect. As a metaphor for homosexuality, I think this is actually a pretty
everything's
strong
a metaphor for
moment.
homosexuality.
The parent whose conservative fundamentalist beliefs are so intense, they're willing to lose contact with their own child.
Okay.
But Fran's line about protecting their young no matter what is also interesting, and for a couple of reasons. One of which is that it echoes a 100-year-old theory about dinosaur behavior with some unexpectedly gay roots.
Oh.
When I was researching this video, I started to wonder if there was any connection between dinosaurs, the species, and homosexuality. And the first thing I found was
someone
one thing I would never think about ever trying to connect: dinosaurs and the big gay.
This is
the big gay.
Like going on Google and going, search terms, homosexuality, dinosaurs, and going, did they ever do this? It's like, how would anyone have any information on this? Would there be some sort of fossilized record of a bunch of dinosaurs in a certain configuration getting molten or what's the term? Solidified and going, oh yeah, they were clearly in some sort of mating behavior. It's like, no, that's probably not the case. And even if there were, I'm sure there were, who cares? What is the point? If you're trying to prove that the lack of mating between heterosexual dinosaurs was killed them off is, I mean, where's the evidence? Just look for evidence. If there isn't evidence, you're fine. You're done. Bad idea. Forget about it. Whatever little evidence there could even be.
Message coming in. Patching it through.
Ha! Bogue, is this guy really gay or just I don't know. I think it's a thing he's selling. I'm assuming he's gay. He just looks silly. You know, there's plenty of good-looking gay people out there that don't look ridiculous. Jake the Surgeon, do it. Do it, you bundle of sticks. I dare you, bring dinosaurs into this. I will destroy you. Okay, Jake. Do you have like a dinosaur thing going for you? Do you know a lot about him? I don't know. Okay, let's go. Let's go, Jake.
This old forum that dinosaurs went extinct because they were all homosexual Satanists, which it just doesn't have the ring of scientific accuracy to it. But then I found something way more interesting. Picture it. Transylvania, 1895. A flamboyant 16-year-old aristocrat named Franz Nopcha von Felschow-Schilvasch takes an interest in some dinosaur bones that his younger sister found on their estate. He dives into a geological study of the surrounding land, and he gets a PhD in geology at the age of 26. His career advances, and then in 1906, he meets another geologist named Bayezid Doda. The two men fell in love, and they started working together. They went on fossil digs, they climbed mountains, they went on adventures. Franz discovered a species of turtle that he named Calokibotian bayezidi, or Bayezid's beautiful box, because the shape of the shell reminded him of Bayezid's butt. So what is the connection between the gay dinosaur hunters of the 1800s and Dinosaurs, the sitcom? Well, in both cases,
Nothing.
it comes down to family relationships.
What?
Now, we don't know exactly how open Franz and Bayezid were about being a couple. Some historians think
Nor
that
do
it
I
was a
care.
case
Why is that
everyone knew,
relevant?
But nobody talked about it, which would make sense, since this was a time when many families were quite hostile to gay relatives. For example, in the 1890s, Oscar Wilde was seeing a man named Alfred Douglas, and when Alfred's father found out, he raised such a stink that Oscar was arrested and sent to prison. But as far as we can tell, Franz and Bayezid were on good terms with their families. For example, at one point, they went hiking in the mountains and were kidnapped by bandits. They started to put together an elaborate escape plan, but that turned out not to be necessary because when Bayezid's father found out what happened,
What is
he showed
happening?
up with 50 armed guards to rescue them. So in contrast to what happened with
What is-
Oscar and Alfred, Bayezid's dad
Why
looked
are
out
you
for
gay?
his son and his
You
partner,
are gay.
even when they got into trouble. And parents looking out for kids turned out to be an important part of Franz's work in paleontology. He was one of the first researchers to put forward a theory that dinosaur parents take care of their young.
Okay.
This part in his belief, way ahead of its time, that dinosaurs.
I mean,
were
I think
related
that's
to
reasonable
birds.
to
Not many
assume
people
that they would
believed
have
it at first. It was a fringe theory
done,
for
because that's what
years.
animals
It
do
really only took
normally.
off in the 1980s and 1990s, and now it's generally believed he was right. Dinosaur
He was
parents
right!
related to birds really did look after their young.
Oh my god!
Wow, what a deduction. That's just fantastic.
They actually did it.
Was that
Amazing.
Was that a contentious issue? I don't think so. I think we kind of assumed that to be the case. We
A
look at-
revolutionary idea.
Yeah.
What does any of that have to do with homosexuality kill the dinosaurs?
Listen, sweetie.
Oh dear.
Ain't your sweetie, bub. You're somebody else's sweetie.
I'm not even sure animals of that intelligence could even fathom the concept of homosexuality, let alone care about it, let alone judge it or do anything about it. Very strange.
There he is, life 100 years later on a silly puppet show. Even though they probably didn't have Franz Nopcha in mind when it was written, the show really does adhere to some of his ideas. Remember how Fran responded to her son getting eaten?
Well, what do you want me to do, Franny? The laws of nature clearly state that the bigger eat smaller.
The laws of nature
Yeah, it's true.
also state that we protect our young, no matter what.
It is so weird to hear this sitcom
Not necessarily.
explicitly validating the theories of Franz Nopcha 100 years after he lived.
Oh my god,
It's also
dude.
interesting to note
Wait,
that
wait,
Franz
wait,
Nopcha
wait.
had some ambiguity.
Wait, what? Which words of Franz Notcha was he referencing? I didn't catch that. What the?
Dinosaurs take care of their young.
That's it?
That's it.
So does every other mammal. Or arthropod or any oh my god. Here's Jake. You got me to unlock my knowledge of all things Mesozoic. To subvert my expectations, these people were a mistake. I don't know. I'm not sure what this is.
Goodness.
I'm a little lost.
Message coming in. Patching it through.
I'm glad we're like ripping right through this, though. This is easy.
And previously seemed like pretty fundamentalist conservative ideas about how they should live.
What?
Yes, there's a
What?
tradition that big things eat small things, but there's also a law about protecting their young.
What?
Now those two ideas
law?
are in conflict. She's saying
No,
that
they're
they're
not.
going to have to choose which one to obey and which one to ignore. In other words, those old-fashioned traditional ideals might not be as immutable as they thought. Some values are...
Why not both? What's wrong with both? The big eat the small, plus you protect your young. That's fine. A bigger creature comes to eat your little kid, you protect him. I don't see how these are problems.
more than others. And if we're reading this as a metaphor for homosexuality and parental acceptance, saying that accepting their kid is more important than upholding old traditions. So, Earl goes back to the swamp.
Wait.
What? That doesn't make any sense.
I'm trying to think about that. So if we superimpose the, not the idea of the kid being eaten, which I thought was about herbivorous and carnivorous creatures. Now it's about let's superimpose the sexuality and say, okay, the law of nature says, males and females for whatever statement he's trying to make. And then we say, no. It's also about protecting your kids. You're like, well, what does protecting your kids have anything to do with homosexuality? They're not doing anything where they can get hurt, unless you want to argue about relationships as a whole. It's whether it's homosexual or not, it's still going to be a relationship or a fling or whatever you want to call that. I don't get it. I just don't see the connection.
I don't either.
Bizarre.
Jake the Surgeon. John Ostrom and Bob Baker were likely more of an influence given they were big proponents of what we consider dinosaurs to be. Oh boy, those are names I have no idea what you're talking about. Obviously, folks that studied dinosaurs and knew more about them than other folks, but this is... I can't even understand the connection this guy's making. It's almost as if he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's projecting so hard. Clearly eating your young is like homosexuality. It's like, oh, really?
To rescue, he gets eaten by a previously owned hand puppet, finds his son in the creature's stomach.
Oh.
They start to fight, and there's what may be one of the most vividly off-color lines ever broadcast on television.
Just tell me what it is that you have against me, and I will happily jump down this guy's intestines.
Bleh. Robbie's mad that Earl is so controlling. Earl is mad that Robbie doesn't listen to him. But then Earl realizes that this is pretty similar to the arguments that he had with his father.
Well, maybe it's okay if sons have different ideas than their father's dad. Maybe it's how we evolve as dinosaurs.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's the law of nature.
Aha! They've discovered a new law. As invested
Son, we won't
as Earl
evolve. We're
was
gonna
in
die.
bigger eats smaller, he's even more invested in a law that validates his own conflict with his dad. Like Fran, he's found a conflict between his values, and he's making a choice about which one to obey and which one to ignore. Problem solved. There's not much time left in the show, so it's time for an ending. The hastier the better. And it is very hasty. Earl and Robbie hug, which the swamp monster finds gross.
That mushy stuff makes me nauseous. Cut it out.
They realize that a display of male affection
Is that the
so
same voice as
disgusting
the
it'll make
rock
swamp
biter
monster
from Neverending
throw up.
Story?
So they proclaim their love for each other as loudly as possible, forcing the monster to vomit and free them. It's not a great place for the episode to land that two men hugging is that disgusting. I don't love that ending, but in the epilogue, we do see that the family is...
You don't like it because... Why? It's not gay enough for you? Like, what's wrong with it?
No, it's like... It's
because the hug was gay.
Wasn't gay enough.
It wasn't gay enough? No. It's just a father and the son. It's not two men. It's like, what? They need a gay hug. It's like, what? Therefore it's good. Oh, okay.
No, we do not want to have a going on where seemingly he's both his brother and his father or something.
Oh boy.
Now more about vegetables, whatever they represent.
Meat and vegetables. Everyone can pick what they want.
So what's this episode about? Drugs? Communism? Homosexuality? Hippies? I think at times it's about each of those things, but also there's something bigger at its heart, and that's how parents deal with the conflict of loving their kid while also disapproving of whatever the kid's into. It's about the choices parents make when their values are in conflict. In the case of Oscar Wilde, John Douglas decided that it was more important to attack homosexuality than to accept his son. With Bayezid and Franz, family stood by them, at least when their lives were threatened. And in this episode, the Sinclair parents both find that old traditions can threaten your family, and it's okay to part ways with those traditions in favor of better ones.
Yeah, but they're not parting ways with them. He still believes that the big eats the small, and you have to protect your kids. I don't... It hasn't changed. The wife is now making vegetables for dinner, but that's about it.
Honestly, Big Eats Small actually makes complete sense and is totally logically viable because that's how the world works.
Big dino eats the smaller one.
They're still eating it. They're still eating meat, so that hasn't changed. I'm not seeing the problem here.
See this as an absolute win.
Joe
I
Crazy.
see it as the big gee.
Joe Crazy just got on. What kind of hell did you all get into? We're almost done. It was so quick. It was like, this is 15 minutes. This is nothing. So
We out of here, baby.
Yeah, very fast connection.
Very quick.
Yeah, we can do another one if you guys want, because this is useless as far as analysis goes.
I'm fine.
You're good.
There's
Message coming
more.
in.
There's more.
Patching it through.
Depends on what we want to do.
Jake the Surgeon. It's a
I
parody.
don't want any big gee.
We always do a Patrick video.
Oh.
Or we could not.
Oh no! Oh, we can do anything. I don't care. I don't care at all.
Patrick's not that bad these days. It's only his Star Wars takes that are stupid.
You know what? Okay, fine.
Just give us.
Sorry to say you're watching movies wrong, but
I'm watching movies.
You're watching
correct,
movies
Armando.
wrong.
No,
Give us-
nope. Bullshit.
Yeah, give us an example. Doug.
Glib,
What's-
stop watching movies wrong.
Never.
All right, let's keep going.
I think that's a fairly optimistic ending, especially when you consider that 3 years later, the show ended with the entire cast dying. In the series finale, the characters are responsible for climate change and cause their own...
I knew
in
it.
charge of the world, and he didn't take real good care of it.
And
Now
that's
it
why
looks like
the
there won't be much of a
dinosaurs are
world left
gone.
for you or your brother and sister to live in.
Sometimes we see the dinosaurs, and by extension the humans for whom they're standing in, at their best, like when
It's
they
all
accept their
climate
kids.
change propaganda
And sometimes we see them at their worst, like when they cause mass extinction.
and gay
Remember,
propaganda.
from the start, Jim Henson's concept was the last days of the dinosaurs. And the show was always meant to show various ways the characters...
I really want to know how the dinosaurs generated a large amount of CO2. How did they?
They farted themselves to death.
It wasn't CO2. It was all of the heavy industry that they had.
It's methane. They just fart it out, and it just
was-
caused their own extinction.
Oh,
It was the Chinosaurs.
okay.
Thought about their own destruction. Despite what you read on forums, no, homosexuality didn't kill the dinosaurs. In real life, the best science points to climate change
But I thought you said
caused
it
by
did.
an asteroid or comet, maybe volcanoes. And on the show, we see the characters harmed by intolerance, slavish adherence to old traditions. Homosexuality, or vegetarianism in the episode's metaphor, didn't kill them. Just the opposite. The survival of the family depends on getting over old prejudices about whatever you might be going on.
If you don't accept
I
gay
think if
people,
there's a
you're not going to
message all of
survive.
these
Did you
big
know
folk
that?
suits, it's probably that humans ought to try to be a little more like the dinosaurs at their best, and less like the
Oh
dinosaurs
my God! What
at
are you
their
talking
worst.
about?
Land ho, we're pulling into port. Thanks for cruising along with us, and thanks to everyone who makes Culture Cruise possible with a support on Patreon. If you're enjoying these videos, head over to patreon.com/MattBaum. Check
Dear
out
God, that's enough. Holy crap.
That was terrible.
That was really bad. That was just dumb.
Quick but bad.
Very quick, very weak. Like, holy bad connections. I got to make a video. Let's try to connect some old paleontologist with gay because he's also gay. Like, okay. What does that have to do with anything? On a stupid blog post about a theory of how the dinosaurs actually died. Oh boy, that was silly.
Maybe the Guardian anime gets blackness wrong. Here's how fans are fixing it. It's only 8 minutes.
Oh, that's funny.
Let's see. Where's the link?
Since we've only been here for about an hour.
Yeah, I know. We could do
A little
another
over
one.
an hour.
Yeah, do another one. It's fine. Where is it? Where's the link?
I don't have it. I just looked through the thing. I just looked through the Smudcast suggestions.
Can you paste me the title at least?
It's basically just the thing is the Guardian Ash anime. I think that's the channel. Anime gets blackness wrong, and here's how fans are fixing it. Oh, okay. Joker sent it in. What? No.
Okay, I got it.
No, he didn't. Movie Bob Game Over Thinker V8.
Just pick one. Just throw it on there.
This is Dragon Ball Z. My very first
Wait, which one
introduction to
did you
the world
pick?
of anime.
This is Anime Gets Blackness Wrong. Here's how fans are fixing it.
Message coming in.
Oh God.
Patching it through.
This is from The Guardian from a month ago. Wow. What's happening here?
Message coming in. Patching it through.
This is my cousin Dujon. I watched Dragon Ball at his house.
Sick! I didn't even know you had the merch. I've got probably about 5 or 6 t-shirts. What? There's just something about the gateway manga and anime.
But this is also Dragon Ball Z.
The first time I ever saw Mr.
Man's
Funko,
not
I remember
hot.
just thinking,
Ting, ting,
why do
ting.
you look like that? I think that was actually my first introduction to what Gollywog was.
This is
Gollywog?
quite a common portrayal of black people in anime. And yeah,
Black people in
has a
anime.
big black
Oh,
family.
jeez, gosh, golly, golly,
A lot of
gosh.
people seem to account.
Nobody
think that
cares.
racism
Nobody
existed
fucking
back,
cares.
And of course, that's not true.
Nobody cares.
Is to be cheering in one scene and like
Yo,
Dragon Ball.
nobody cares. Because Japanese people aren't black. So shut the fuck up.
I just said, okay, we're gonna ignore that episode. But unfortunately, that's something that black folks again and again have to do. If we want to be fans of
That
something,
was a scene from One Punch Man. What was his called? Was his name from One Punch Man? He's like the third top or the fourth strongest hero. He's literally this dude who was, I think he was white, and he worked out so much he became black. I can't remember the exact story behind that guy. Someone could fill in the blanks for me in chat. Tell me who that character was in One Punch Man, who was this big giant. His muscles are so strong, he's impenetrable.
is Durarara, but the Black Russian is a problem. For the love of God, redraw him.
Sister Crone in Promised Neverland, they lean on that look, huge lips, bulging eyes.
Why are these
it's
Japanese
just
so
disgusting,
racist
and
against
it
my
hurts, 'cause
people?
It's so
Shut
glaring
the
that
fuck
it is
up.
Black, that it almost ruins the entire thing for me.
And even One Punch Man has Black Luster, who, aka Super Alloy Darkshine. I mean,
Super Alloy Darkshine. Hey, how's the Boondocks doing? It was really good. Everybody loved it. How's Black Dynamite doing? Oh, everybody loved it. Afro Samurai, everybody loved it. Shut the fuck up and make your own shit. Or shut the fuck up. Alternatively, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, Glib, that's very closed-minded of you. You're racist.
Yes. I'm not racist because I'm bored of your shit. And if I am, go fuck yourself.
So
it is very racist. And it's funny because
It's very
I was getting
racist?
into the
Why?
show and I was like,
Don't
I just
care.
said, we're gonna-
Okay, so as I said before, this is a character when he was younger. He was thin and frail. He had medium-length hair and light skin. So he wasn't a big, giant black man, okay? He became a big, giant black man. Maybe being black's a superpower. I don't know.
Creativity is racist. Japanese people are racist. Anime is racist. Everything's racist. Give me power. Nom, 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 nom.
That's the
I'm a
beautiful
victim.
thing. The beautiful thing about, especially shows like One Punch Man, where it's so over the top with powers and aliens and magic and whatever. It's just ridiculous. It's fun. And for people to be serious about, oh my God, they're doing this to the aliens. Like, what? They're aliens. They're trying to kill everyone. What are you talking about?
You know what? I've never heard an English person go, Austin Powers is problematic.
coming in.
I don't know if it's a good representation of England. Like, no shit. No fucking shit, dude.
Imagine Austin Powers is black.
Austin Powers is very offensive to me in my nationality. Look, Glib, you're going to have to put away your American privilege. I can't stand by this cultural appropriation.
Michael Myers has Canadian privilege because he can play a British man. He's not even British. He's not even a real accent. And then he got to do it again in Inglourious Basterds. Shut the fuck up, bitch.
Exact
You
right
are a loser.
response to that one. Exact right response to that one.
I like to complain about how my skin color looks on the internet and media. Mhm.
So here's Jake the Surgeon. The extinction. We're talking about dinosaurs again. The extinction was many things at once. Dinosaur populations were on a downswing with climate change. Really. Then the meteor hit, effectively causing most of them to die out, leaving only birds as the last living dinosaurs. Oh, good to
Good
know.
on those burbs.
Interesting. I'm not knowledgeable on these ideas, but thank you, Jake. That's cool. Joe Crazy. My God, I only saw the ending and I still can't stand this guy. Yeah, that was a pretty bad video. Jake the Surgeon. Have these troglodytes seen G Gundam? Probably not. No.
Or maybe they have. Maybe they have. It doesn't matter. They're still gonna bitch about it. That's all they do. Is just bitch about it.
It's kind of like with Anita, how she just looks at anything and just has the general look of, oh my God, boob armor. It's like, what? Is that a problem?
Yeah, nobody cares, dude. You got a problem with
and
censoring
then almost
people's
immediately after, Anita fell into irrelevancy again.
Yeah.
Once again, she fell back into the arms of irrelevancy. Once
Back
she had
from
gotten her
when
little
she
monies,
came.
Her little bitching monies were rewarded. She left back into the ocean, never to be seen again, until the next time something needed to be bitched about.
What exactly does Anita do? I want to know. What's her day job? What does she actually get up to?
Grifting.
Grifting?
a
Oh,
multi-level
right.
marketer.
That's right. Okay. That's what it was.
Probably gets a lot of money off of Patreon, I imagine.
Yeah, she got donated a hell of a lot of money for her show, Feminist Frequency.
Oh, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, but then she ran out of money.
Yeah.
She needs more than $100,000 a year, dude.
If only she applied to her 401k.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not enough money, dude. She needs to be able to buy beluga caviar in France when she's visiting.
She barely does fuck all, and people still donate her money.
She represents.
She never she made the promise that she was going to go out there and she was going to create weekly videos. She created a handful, and they weren't even that good. In terms of actual quality, the money that was funneled into them, they were less than average of a regular YouTube video.
Dude,
it was a huge grift. She took most of the money.
I just want to show people this is Darkshine as a kid. That's the big black man. He's a. I think that's brilliant. I honestly think that's brilliant because the idea behind, one of the ideas behind One Punch Man is that you could come from any background, any kind of philosophy, any kind of bad scenario, and you just work hard at it. You could transform yourself into anything. That's for good or evil, and I think that's a great metaphor. So, this little kid becomes a big giant black man with impervious muscles. That's beautiful.
That's racist.
That's beautiful and racist.
Beautiful and racist. Heckin' valid and racist.
Ignore that episode. But unfortunately, that's something that black folks again and again have to do. If we want to be fans of something and we don't want to cancel the entire genre, we have to pick and choose our fights.
Oh my God.
Oh wait, that's an option?
You can cancel entire
That's an option,
genres?
is to cancel the entire genre? Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Just go fuck yourself, dude. You're probably just a fucking loser in your life. And that's why you gotta bring down other people because they're doing shit and you're not.
That is pathetic. That's
same
honestly,
old story.
That's honestly sad and pathetic to say we can do this. It's like, no, you can't. You cannot bring down Japanese anime. There's no way you and your little group of morons are going to bring down an entire industry.
Yeah, the entire Japanese economy.
It's ridiculous because you don't like a certain character's skin tone. That's stupid as hell. It's not as if there's anything.
We got to cancel the industry, or we got to cancel something specific. But we're canceling something.
There's nothing controversial about Darkshine. He's a giant big hero who happens to have dark skin. He's a good guy. Pitch black at times, yeah. Depending on
anything that involves black people, you have to get it past the Council of Black Art. And you don't know that. And they're self-elected.
There's been animes in the 90s or even the 80s that had dark-skinned, like olive-skinned, brown-skinned. They were implied to be from India or the Middle East or what have you. Even if they're on alien planets, no one cared. Totally fine. Good animated or well-animated drawn characters for the time. I didn't hear a problem or any issues with that. If anything, anime was more censored in certain cases because it was too adult. There was some murder or sex or nudity or what have you. and little scenes like that were clipped out. I think G-Force might have had a few scenes. I can't remember the other episodes like that, but they weren't anything horrendous. They were just, oh yeah, this is like the 80s, so obviously they're very sensitive. But no one was talking about how white Astro Boy was. Silly stuff.
But why does anime get blackness so badly wrong? To try and
Because
understand
Japanese
what's going
people
on
aren't
here,
black.
especially with a lot of the older shows, we need to think about this in context.
They're looking at us through the lens of American media, American television.
Okay.
There were no images of black people in animation outside of Disney and Warner Brothers animation.
Why is that?
in
You ever
the 40s
ask
and
yourself that
50s,
shit?
and those images of us were very racist. I would direct
Why?
your attention to the jungle.
Where was your shit?
That's what?
These references range from
Monkeys are black people.
Monkeys are black people, guys.
From Cowboy Bebop. She's a black exploitation character. She's based.
Yeah, so what? So is everything else in those shows.
Exploitation? What's that? What even is a black exploitation character?
it's a
But you know
genre.
what's funny? Black exploitation is like all black movies. There was a whole thing of doing black movies for the black community, black stories for the black community. I have a huge respect for it. I like it. A lot of people enjoy it. And now they're going to talk about it as it's a bad thing. So the actual representation of black life that was presented, black heroes like Shaft, Cross 110th Street, all this shit, no, that's not good enough. So again, fuck off. You are a loser and you don't know how to do this. So stop telling other people how to do this.
Wow, Glib, you're just going to come on like that.
Was it the the first episode?
Blow it out your ass, commie.
Was it the first episode or second episode of Cowboy Bebop? But they were fighting against that giant black man that they were chasing after Ein, the dog. I was like, there was.
I don't care.
Nothing wrong with that.
Sorry, I just it bothers me so much when people try and say what you can do with your art.
Yeah,
you don't have the right to cancel my art.
Especially when you're talking about a
You don't have the
color
right to
palette.
cancel anybody.
Glib, it's offensive.
You know what?
If it
I am
hurts their
offensive.
fifis, you shouldn't be allowed to do it.
Fuck that. I'm going to Vegas.
And you know what? I think there's a great design to be had for people wearing black leather and having an afro. I think that works very well.
Yeah, it's cool. Unless you don't think it's cool. Person that's complaining about representation, but that's very much a thing.
You know what? There are some gorgeous, gorgeous black women, even today, who can spout the tight-fitting clothes with the afro,
Message coming in.
with the shades, with the
Patching it through.
cleavage. It's like no other culture can do that. That's a very unique, special thing. And I think, hey, if
Give me
you've
a
got it,
sugar.
and you could pull it off, you do it. That's a great thing. It's hard finding tall women these days, but when they're black and like that, ooh, that's special. Anyway, let's get back on topic. Jake the Surgeon. Jinx is based off a monster, not black people. Stop bringing her up every time you talk about this nonsense, you race baiters. I don't know who Jinx is. What is
Jinx? Is the Pokemon.
The gollywog looking Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Okay. Interesting.
Basically Foxy Brown, but on Mars.
Some argue that since anime is largely created for a domestic Japanese audience, creators can't be expected to respectfully represent racial diversity, because Japan is not a particularly racially diverse country. But these excuses don't hold water.
Oh, they don't hold water. Why don't you just fucking make some shit then, loser?
You can't just say it's like a thing without agency. It's not just like, oh, well, it was an accident that happened. It's like a conscious choice that people make.
When we argue about racism in anime,
Okay, just think about that for a moment. Racism in anime. What does that even mean?
It means I don't care.
Well,
I don't care if the racists make anime because I don't care if you make anime.
Have
All
you
I care
ever-
about is if you're making shit.
Yeah, have you ever seen an anime that was racist aside from like Hellsing, where it's explicitly a guy is a Nazi and he hates humanity as a whole, not specifically humans, but or a white human, but like humans as a whole because he wants to eat them?
What I want to ask chat. What's your most favorite racist anime?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Good luck figuring that one out.
I can't even. Yeah, I can't
don't
even
know. I
imagine
can't even
it.
think of one.
A racist.
They're like cultural, like, hey, look at the weirdo. Look at the American. So weird. I've seen that in anime.
Okay.
I've never seen like outright. I hate this group of people. I don't really think that artists that tell stories think that way very often.
Yeah, I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think. I'm sure there might have been a few scenes in some of the more serious seinen mangas I've read, but not in anime per se. Anime is generally acceptable as a whole. I think 90% of it anyone could watch, but there's some specific adult ones or serious ones or very weird surrealistic ones that people don't like. So that might have a little bit of racism in it, but it's not a major theme. It's always a minor.
I think a lot of things can have racism in them. I don't think there are a lot of racist things outright.
Yeah, having an orange or black colored person or anime character doesn't make the show racist. It just happens to be this person's from another culture or another ethnicity, and that's about it.
People like, it's Japan. It's not here. It's not the same thing. And what they don't realize
It's
is
none
on
of
a
your
global
fucking
scale, it is the
business.
same thing because it's all over the world.
And it's not just
What?
anime shows themselves that are problematic.
It's all over the
A
world, dude.
large amount of anime fans.
What was wrong with that character? That was a perfectly fine character.
And anime fans are racist too. It's not just the anime.
People are like, well, it's Japan. It's not here. It's not
Oh,
the
it's
same
Japan!
thing. And what they don't realize is on a global scale,
Message
it is
coming
the
in.
same thing because it's all
Patching
over
it
the
through.
world.
This guy looks totally fine. This is what, Dragon Ball? Could be Akira Toriyama.
It's caricatured, obviously, but it's not.
Well, the reason why I say
horrifically
it's Akira Toriyama because he's definitely mesomorphic, and the eyes are actually, it's hard to tell the eyes because usually his eyes and eyebrows are very on an angle. They're very wide on an angle. But yeah, this is like Dragon Ball to me. Could be wrong. Mine is G Gundam, okay, because a giant robot with a poncho, sombrero, and mustache from a sombrero-shaped colony is outstanding. Okay. Isn't that just one scene in the show, not the whole show? Oh, dear. How about Turn A Gundam with the mustache? Is that a little too French? What is it? I don't even know. A mustache, you must be French. Oh. French robots.
Damn dirty Frenchman.
Not just anime shows themselves that are problematic.
A large amount of
Not
fans.
just the men.
I'm not saying all
but
of
the
them.
women.
Like it is a lot of them.
So she's got a Cowboy Bebop. Does she hate Cowboy Bebop or does she like it? Which one is it? I'm
Both.
curious. Is it, she hates and loves it? That's strange, but okay. I mean, that's
She hates that it's not Black Power or something.
oh, that Faye is not representative enough of I don't know, Southern European.
Why isn't
women?
she the main character? Is she? Are you racist? Why isn't the
Oh.
black person in charge of everything and awesome and never blah 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 blah?
out there hate when other people who don't look like them come into the fandom.
It was really
What?
only very
It's not. Yeah,
recently
exactly.
that I talked
It's
about
it's
being
it's
an
the way
anime
that you
fan
look,
online, because I don't like
not
having
the way that you
conversation
act.
day in day out. I think where I see it,
You know what? I have met so many people from all over the world through my channel who all love and hate and love talking about all kinds of things. And I don't even know what they look like. I don't even care what they look like. It doesn't matter. And I'm sure they look completely off the wall of what I think they look like. And that's fine. It never enters my brain, my perception of other people.
Funny enough, most people who are enjoying what they enjoy don't care about the color of your skin, about the person they're sharing what they're enjoying with. Most people are just happy to enjoy something with someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying
Hey,
to
think
if,
about
if
that?
if a black guy said, "Hey, do you want to talk about Star Wars?" to me, it's like, "Fuck yeah, I'd love to talk about Star Wars with you." Or do you want to talk about Clone Wars? Do you want to tell how shit Rebels was? Do you want to shit on the sequel trilogy? It doesn't matter about the color of their skin, because who fucking cares about that? Little to no one
Message coming
gives
in.
any shits.
Patching it through.
I do recall.
Hell, even if a person was racist, they'd probably be more excited to talk about their passions than care about the race.
I do recall going to university and going to anime club. I think it was every Thursday nights, which was I happened to be also beer nights. So it was kind of like, oh, should I go get a beer first or after or during? You know, but we'd always meet up in our class, and we'd be watching Rurouni Kenshin to start it off, and we're like, oh yeah, Rurouni Kenshin. We're just sort of like chilled out. Someone would either pop in the PlayStation, play some Devil May Cry 1, and you just chill. You just chill. It doesn't, and you just get to know people, and that's that. It's like what you would do at a bar, the same thing. So I felt no different going to one of the pubs like one week as opposed to going to anime night, because it was the same atmosphere. You're still socializing, you're still having a good time, and no one cared what you looked like, what language you came, what part of the world you came from. We were all sharing some common interest, whether it was live music or Heineken or whatever we were watching. I think we were watching. What the hell is that called? It was a romance anime we were watching at the time. Which
I like how
Robin.
Sorry, just the Japanese come out here. They make all this content. They sell it for you. You like it. You're like, great. And then you find something wrong with it because of the race of the characters and the way that they are behaving or something like that. And then all of a sudden, it all has to change for you. It's like, damn, dude. What right did you have to do that? Where do you come into the process aside from buying this shit?
Here is Lord Nightmare. Hold your fire. This man isn't black, DBS tub. Oh, see, there's a big argument with the anime clubs of what was better, the subs or the dubs, and the problem was the dubs.
Subs.
Well, everyone usually says the subs, but then it depends on who does the sub, right? With dubs,
exactly.
With dubs, it's the same argument because there's some amateur groups which were great, and there were some professional groups which were even better, but some of them weren't so great, and then you had the really bad amateur groups which. They just they had bad recording, they had bad equipment, they timed it wrong, but they were trying their best. So it's like, all right, well, better than nothing, but I'd rather just get the subs, which were poorly translated by someone from Japan. So it always depended on who was doing the sub. But yeah, the argument is mostly about subs over dubs. Jake the Surgeon. The anime community is very accepting. I agree. We only hate degenerates who think watching Evangelion makes you some galaxy brain. Yeah, I never hopped on that train. I stayed away from it, Evangelion. They can get in the showers. Yeah, there are some big fanboys of the symmetry and the themes and the imagery and themes of Evangelion. I never got into it. I watched it. I thought this is okay. Some episodes were good. One was even great. But after that, it just went really weird really quickly. And then they kept making movies. You're like, oh no, trying to reboot what they did. And of course, the ending was horrific. So anyway, we're not going to talk about that. That just makes me sad.
Most from my friends who cosplay, they'll get told you can't cosplay that character because you're black.
You're not black. You can't play that character.
I've been called slurs. I've been called a fake fan. I've been called many names. Or you only like it because Megan Thee Stallion likes it. Or you don't know any anime. It's a lot.
Very interesting.
So if being a black fan of anime subjects you to this much racism, then why do we love
it? You know how often that
just give
that
it
happens? How often on Twitter you get anyone cosplaying or doing a drawing or being hypercritical of a kid and their fan art. It happens every day. This is not a big deal. If you're reacting like this, there's something wrong with you, because those artists or those cosplayers get that every day. So,
yeah, right.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Love it so much.
There's no one answer. For me, the fact that I didn't have to engage with Western politics and I could look at something else for once and learn about something else. And also just because these things are cool.
And a lot of anime
the fuck are you talking
with,
about?
like, there's usually some layer of prejudice against the hero. Like, some people doubt them, some people think they can't achieve it, or just that they're hated. So Naruto, for example, he's treated poorly for a large part of his life, but he still rises to the occasion and perseveres to become Hokage one day. I think that's probably,
So?
there's tons of characters like that who face that in their journeys. I think it resonates with me as a Black woman because it is just something where, like, existing in itself can be a challenge. Existing in a world.
Existing for everyone is a challenge. Join the club.
I love Kurosawa films and things like that, and a lot of the anime.
Oh, you love
follow
Japan,
those
but you hate the
storylines.
fact that they're racist or something?
avenge, let
What
me
the
walk
fuck is
the
wrong
earth
with you?
like Cain and
Can you imagine if Kurosawa had a bunch of black people getting chopped up in one of his films? He'd be like, oh my God, what are black people doing there? Or whatever the argument is. They're killing the blacks in ancient Japan. It's like, yeah, they would kill interlopers or any kind of foreign people. It's like, you don't belong here. You're dead.
Yeah, it's very bizarre.
Here's Bogue again. Thank you, sir. Nidome no Jinsei is written by a really Wasis. I don't know what Wasis is. Japanese dude that
Message
hates
coming in.
the
Racist. Patching it through.
Shut up. hates the Chinese. His anime got canceled because of Twitter. Really? Wow.
Oh my goodness. That's unacceptable.
Oh. I can agree with like canceling it because like an animal hurt, like I think it was like Lucky or something. Lucky 6 or was some HBO show that got canceled. But I'm just like, getting canceled because of Twitter, that's so stupid.
It's a strange
Twitter
thing,
is
this
the
cancel culture
definition
nonsense.
of vocal minority.
Well,
Message coming in.
let's assume
Patching
the
it
people
through.
on Twitter have more sway than we thought, and they could just end people's careers or productions or whatever business they've got going. That's a pretty sad thing. I don't care about some creators' political views or personal views, and neither should you, because we only care about their artwork that they produce. So if Quentin Tarantino is a fetishist of her feet, I'm like, okay, cool.
No, he needs to be canceled for that.
It's like, it doesn't bother, it should not bother anyone that he has a fetish or he's public about it or someone to interpret it. He likes camera angles where the feet are in the foreground or whatever. It's
I
like,
love
okay.
feet. I just need more feet.
Jake the Surgeon, get help then bint. Okay, so he's saying to this lady. I think they actually have gotten help. A lot of these people seem to have gone to therapy, and they think they're better now. So they're more open, they're more confident in saying stupid crap. Because they honestly think these things.
Probably think that you are better now.
They probably think I'm the biggest racist of all time.
Well, yeah, they have it.
And I haven't even started yet.
That self-reflected confidence they create. So
honor goes to Roseanne Barr. People hate Roseanne Barr.
I don't know. We can outdo her. Come on. We can work really hard to bring racism to its fruition. No.
Good luck.
Is she still on Twitter? Is she off of Twitter? I can't recall.
I don't know. Roseanne Barr, all I know is that she's just like a lot of people friggin' hate her because she's a Trump supporter.
Oh, God.
Massive chungus at this point.
Well, eventually we'll find out what's happening with Trump. Is it this month or next month? We're going to find out with all his legal issues.
Maybe in a couple of years we'll figure out who won this election.
Yeah, it's possible.
Avenge the death of my master.
There's a lot of parallels here with black people's affection for kung fu films. But that's another video.
What?
It's a really interesting thing now that I think everybody is sort of kind of coming out and going, yeah, I've been...
Why do so many people love kung fu films, or why do so many black people love kung fu films? What's the big question here? I think kung fu films is universal. It has nothing to do with being a certain background. Unless you're Chinese, because there's obviously a big origin of kung fu in China. So I think that would be in Hong Kong, because that's where the origin of the genre came, I believe. So that I can understand, but not inherently black people. No, I don't think so.
Message coming in. Patching it
Alex Halo, thank you, sir. It would be hard to find manga writer without a fetish. Let me think about that.
Exactly. Why else do you get into manga? Manga.
Besides
Bongo?
your
fetishes.
I read the manga.
The manga.
I don't know. I think there is a certain understanding that anime became this obsession with hyper popular genres.
Oh, of course.
Which everyone sort of jumped on the bandwagon, and that's not like the granddaddy, like the isekai genre, but like magical girl elements or elements therein. High school or young adult manga. So that whole setting, the contemporary setting, what the life of a high school boy or high school girl. But that's very
High School Boy. High School Boy sounds like a manga.
High school.
It's like the most generic title you can think of.
Right, but it's not just found in Japan. It's found throughout the world. Like that's the part of your life where a lot of stuff happens, a lot of growth occurs, a lot of learning occurs. So it makes sense to have characters like that, and people can relate to going to school and having friends and having love letters in your locker or whatever. So these are
or you want that and you don't have that.
It's a fantasy, exactly. They have a different obsession with like their traditions, like Chocolate Day and White Day or Valentine's Day, which is fascinating.
I don't know,
because we never had that really in North America. We had Valentine's Day, but that's like sort of a goofy thing. And then White Day was like the response to Valentine's Day, which I always found fascinating, as if there was some sort of weird obligation that males had to have to women. So Valentine's Day was for men or boys, and White Day was for girls, which I always found very interesting.
That is weird.
I always thought it was just White Chocolate Day. Oh, yeah, white chocolate. That's cool. No. It's it's you're professing your love to this girl. Like, holy crap, that's serious. Which is, to me, very mature and very up with the times that we have these people that are like, even in high school, can date and be honest about their feelings.
Fan of this for years. If they're over the age of 35, they're going to remember getting bootleg VHS, or friends got them and dubbed them and passed them around. And that's why the black anime audience is older. People think, oh, now black people like it too. No, we've been here.
Anime
no, we've been done here.
Goes back decades, especially in hip hop.
That is why there's so much of an anime influence in Boondocks. Aaron Magruder, he was clearly a fan. LaShawn Thomas, who was also one of the people who worked on that show, he went on to actually move out to Japan and work on anime on his own. And he
so
created
it's not that
Cannon
racist,
Busters
is
last
it?
Year.
LaShawn Thomas was also one of the storyboard
just by
animation
being
production
talented
artists on Avatar,
he got out there to
Korra,
Japan.
And he's part of a
Wow.
small but growing number of black people involved in the production of anime. In the US, there's Saturday AM magazine that features manga from a whole host of diverse artists. And then there's Noir Caesar, a black-run company which has diversity and representation as its mission statement. They're currently adapting some of their manga into anime shows.
I will say that there are creators out there who are fixing it. Black-owned
Fixing
studios.
it.
Okay, they're not fixing it. They're doing their own thing, which is totally cool. It's great that you're doing your own thing, but you're not changing. If you seriously think you're having an impact on Japan by making your own cartoons, you are a joke. Okay, that's like, oh, Microsoft is looking at this other startup company making their own operating system. You're like, right. Good luck with that. It's gigantic. It is a huge part of their culture, whether it's visual or animated or cartoons, people dressing up as who knows what for kids shows. It's gigantic. So the fact that we have a bunch of people who happen to be black making black cartoons is like, that's great. I'm more power to you. But
that's what we've always wanted.
That's great.
I want you to do your thing. We'll do our thing. Everybody shut up and just do your thing.
That's one way of looking at it. Yeah.
What's so hard about that?
Whatever you want is great. Go ahead and do it. Find your marketplace. Sell to that demographic. Go for it. I would cheer you on.
I'm just not going to do it for you.
Yeah. That's why I like things like Kickstarter. I see a project. I don't care who these people are. I've given money to people of various political dispositions I don't agree with. And I don't care, because I want to see what they do with Shakespeare. I want to see what their interpretation of a cooking show in a video game format is going to be. I don't care about any of that extra crap.
Message coming in.
Yeah.
And you really shouldn't.
That's why you're a piece of shit. No. I don't care.
Give me your money.
You care about every issue that I care about.
Joe crazy. I love anime. We all do. You don't see me bitching about a lack of Latino representation. Yes, you do it. But
you're not a person.
Even the 3D animation is a form of animation, Shiny.
Yeah, you love anime. Clone Wars is your favorite anime.
There's a difference between anime from Japan and animation
from Great Britain.
Anime, even though anime does mean animation, it's always referencing specific Japanese animation.
Sure, I'll give
the
you
good
that.
animation. You mean the best animation?
It's like Belgian beer,
Japanimation.
right? It all come from all the good stuff come from Belgium and still does, but there's other good beer throughout the world. It just you're just comparing a mountain of hundreds of years of experience and culture to Canada. How old are we? 200 years most at best. We have some lagers. We have some craft beers that are pretty decent. Quebec is amazing at beer, but that's a whole other culture. But they came from France, so that's they got their own beer culture in France. So you always compare it to the originator and how it's styled.
Yes, exactly.
For that demographic and that culture. And that's why they're doing their own thing. Bravo. That's all we could say.
Like Station Ninja, there's also shows like Carol and Tuesday that have great representation for Black characters.
That's cool.
So I do have a lot of hope, but I will say it's like by creator.
There's so many things that we've accepted for so long because we were just so happy to be included at all.
I just realized she had Baby Yoda at the top left there.
Yeah, so
didn't notice that.
Yeah. Good for her. It looks like the really expensive one, like the life-size replica.
The $130 one.
I'm also just happy to be here. I appreciate that. That's exactly the kind of attitude you should have. Whatever you get, with the good and the bad, that's what you get.
Cards, live by them and deal with them. Don't bitch about the cards life has given you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much.
We can ask for more, and I think that's what a lot of fans are doing.
You'll have more folks who are like, I would like to be in a space where I'm not feeling so entirely alone. There are so many people like myself who are interested in this sort of thing. It's not just like a white fascination. It's like a thing that a lot of people...
A white fascination?
Oh, is anime for white people now? Is space anime for white people? Is that what you thought that Cowboy Bebop was? White people in space? Spike Spiegel, the Jew?
Spiegel is a Jewish last name.
It is.
Yeah, I know.
I know a bunch of seagulls.
Spiegels.
God bless them.
We'll share in and enjoy.
I've got lifelong friends just off the back of the fact that we geeked out together. I love anime. I love it.
There's spaces that are like advertised as just like, look, if you're black and you're into...
See, that's cool. I like that. Whatever she's doing. Good job.
That is an impressive dark elf or whatever that is.
I know.
This stuff, then it will be, in a convention hall somewhere in the States.
We feel encouraged to make a space where fans like us can feel welcomed and no one feels excluded. It's really about a community.
Were they just bitching about Facebook or Twitter or something? Is that what it came down to? Someone says the bad things on Twitter again. It's like, oh.
As always.
Everything leads to Twitter.
We're being excluded from social media again. It's like, what? That's not a problem. When was that ever a problem? But the fact that she said we have to cancel them is like, oh, that you're one of those people. Like, oh.
Oh, absolutely. That's what they're grievance people. They want some sort of compensation for their existence. Like, oh, I look at my skin, I'm black. Yeah, now let me go look at the world through that lens. And the world is expected to change because of this. It's like, why? If you feel like you're put upon, then you need to be the person that does something about it. Don't scream at other people that their shit sucks. That's how the world ends. Everybody just dragging each other down.
It's the CinemaSins mentality.
And CinemaSins is just trying to have some fun. They don't care. They're not trying to change film. They're just like, look at this thing. CinemaSins just wants to make money and survive and point out little things that they think are funny flaws. And sometimes that pisses people off when they're inaccurate. And I agree. But I'm not going to get all butt flustered about it.
I just mean that like one guy went on, like the guy who runs it went on a rant after he heard about the Winnie the Pooh. He's like, "You offend me." Maybe he's just like doing it for clicks or whatever, but I can't find it anywhere. The only place I can find it is the Anti-CinemaSins video by John Vids. It's the only place I can find it.
Well, we're almost done. That was another quick video. It was very silly, but not hard to listen to. Little weird things that were said, but we've heard these things before. They don't bother me. They're just like, oh, really? We're still talking about this crap? Like, oh, geez.
Yeah, exactly.
And being able to enjoy it together.
If you want to hear more from Black British anime fans, I've put some links in the description to some great podcasts. Both Neisha and Karama have their own podcast, and they're brilliant, so check those out.
Anime gets blackness wrong. Oh, dear.
Black British anime fans.
British? Is that the distinction?
Yeah, you said Black British anime fans.
Oh, Britain does have a certain sensitivity to the blacks. Apparently, they like to.
We have to free our British brothers from their white guilt. Their empiring was not a problem. Actually, it introduced culture to the lesser beings. Just kidding. I'm just fucking with you guys. I'm just kidding. I hide my true opinions behind my comedy. I'm secretly everything that's bad, everything ever. I'm here to oppress people. I'm here to debunk their happiness.
I'm okay with debunking happiness.
I'm sick of this gaslighting. It's like, okay, you are noticing everything about other people except for your people. There's no black animation. Africa doesn't have a fucking film business. Why don't you think about that? Why don't you think about why there's no Jamaican film business? And try and figure out where you are in the world culturally without blaming other people necessarily, and how you can improve your own people. Because you're playing partisan games. If you are pointing out that there is a problem with a Japanese animation style and how it regards African or people of African descent.
Message coming in.
What are you doing with your life?
Patching it
What
through.
is it that you're trying to do? Do you want to see more black anime? That's what you go and do. That's what inspires me. I want to see more good content. That's the only reason why I exist on the internet or why I write or make anything. If the world was making good quality content, I would literally not say anything. My existence exists because of this. So what's funny to me is that this person who is supposedly my counterpart here is entirely looking at everything through a racial lens instead of a quality lens, which is what we agree upon internationally. I never had this problem when I was growing up. It wasn't until like 2015 when the wokeness really kicked into high gear, or like 2012, that era, that when I was like, oh, now we have to point out where all of these discrepancies that we invented the metrics for are. No, I don't agree. I don't agree. But my opinion doesn't matter to these people because I'm an evil Nazi. So what am I supposed to do here? I'm howling in the wind just as much as these people.
All right. So we have another option from Fairy Joker. This is Movie Bob from 12 years ago.
Oh, this is going to be a good one.
Oh, dear.
Movie slob.
Look at this. Look at this thumbnail or whatever this is, the first frame of his video. Proud to be an American, prouder to be an American geek. All right.
Proud to be a Ugandan, where at least I know the way. And I won't forget the knuckles that died to save our queen for me. And I stand up high. Or whatever it goes. I hate that song.
That's a song? I thought you were just having fun there. Okay.
I'm having a lot of fun today.
All right.
These videos are terrible. I have to make the fun somewhere.
Yeah, they're pretty lame. Yeah. Ooh, Joe Crazy, is he using a potato for a mic? I think that was just the last part of the video. I don't know. Using the camera mic, maybe. Joe Crazy, Uganda has some so bad they're good movies, though. Oh, that's probably true. I have no idea, but that's wouldn't be outside of the realm of possibility. All right, 10-minute video, Movie Bob. You guys ready?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, let's do it. I can handle Movie Bob. He's a regular sized meal.
12 years ago. Okay.
I'm in the mood to have people pissed off at me today.
Oh
so
my
we're going
God.
to talk about
It's calling
race.
it's voicing the radio.
We're not going to have a
Yeah,
conversation
you're right. His mic was so bad. He sounds just like voice.
about race. I ain't running for president. I ain't trying to get out from something my dumb shit pastor said. We're going to talk. Or rather, I'm going to talk, and you're going to listen. And then bitch at me in the comments.
You're
Same
gonna listen
basic
to
idea,
me.
though. Part of what we're going
Click.
to talk about
You're gonna
is how
fucking
any
listen.
discussion involving race tends to end with someone feeling they've been insulted. So let's inoculate that shit right here by insulting everyone right off the bat.
Wow, he is.
See, he used to be a chud. He used to be one of us. He used to be a
Did
shit
he?
poster.
He was honest. He's like, this is what's happening. Okay, let's do it.
I'm gonna insult everybody at once. Nowadays, he's like, "Oh, please don't block me on Twitter."
Ahem. White people, shut up. Shut the fuck up.
Okay, this is where we've gone.
Oh, he's dead.
Okay, did he say white people shut up?
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Is he not white? Is he Sean King's brother?
Yeah.
Okay, shut up, Movie Bob.
Great.
This is not how you start an argument,
Whiter
folks.
than white.
Okay? This is never how you
Bob
start
is
an argument.
whiter than white.
I don't care if you say X demographic, shut up, but swearing and telling people to be quiet, that is wrong. Okay?
No, this guy is the epitome of class.
Yeah, I know.
Like me.
The world isn't ending just because you now own slightly less of it. Also, this dickbag.
Did he speed up his voice?
Yeah, he does.
Apparently he hates. Okay, so apparently he hates Mitt Romney or something.
Yeah, no kidding.
Bitch, that's your fault. Do something about it. Black people. The subwoofer was never ever meant to be weaponized. Once the movie starts, shut the fuck up. This is your fault.
Well, he's just swearing at everyone now. Holy crap. He's
White
just-
people, black people, shut up.
Shut
I am
the
the
fuck
ruler of mankind.
The subwoofer was not meant
This
to
is
be
your boss
weaponized.
speaking.
So he has a problem with people with cars, I guess. Driving late at night.
Apparently he hates Hillary. Apparently he hates Hillary too, which is
Wow.
kind of mind blowing.
He just hates everyone. This is great. This is amazing.
He just hates everyone, yeah.
Do something about it.
A man after my own heart.
Solo porque los blancos chicos y negros chicos no pueden entender lo que usted está diciendo no significa que no puede decir cuando es derogatory. Smartass. También, esta es tu culpa. Hacer algo al respecto. Asians.
He's so woke.
Well, I like him. Holy shit.
Oh, God.
What did he say?
He likes Shigeru
Oh, shit.
Miyamoto.
He likes that. I think he
This is the
likes
most
it.
racist I've ever seen, Movie Bob.
This is, yeah. This is.
Kind of amazing. It's kind of amazing. Somebody needs to cancel him over this stuff.
Oh, God.
Well, Lindsay Ellis neutered him on Twitter.
No,
So
for Movie Bob to be canceled, he has to have been started. He's never made it.
yeah, true.
Whew, damn. I actually got no problem with you guys. None whatsoever. Indians.
Indians,
sorry.
stop shitting in the streets.
Jews.
My name's Movie Bob. I'm not
That's
offensive.
coming in.
Love her.
Patching it through.
These guys rock. Isn't she Jewish too? Yes.
Jews!
Nope, no issue
Stop
here. And
building
keep up the good work,
central
boys.
banks,
Shalom.
Jews. I'm Movie Bob.
Now, is that a little juvenile? Probably yes. Crude and over the top? You must be new here. Point is, let's
He's such an edgy lord.
He's
the
crude.
lord of the edge.
Oh, this is amazing.
You must be new here. I'm such an asshole. I don't even give a fuck. You fucking loser, idiot, stupid. I am a 300 IQ.
This
It
is kind
sounds
of
like-
amazing.
You take a kid in grade school and he's like so bored during break or whatever recess, he goes to the library and makes these videos.
Message coming in. Patching it through.
Yeah, right.
I hate all my classmates. They're white and black. And I hate them all. Wow.
Teachers, go fuck yourself. I'm self-educated.
Everyone get mad now. Pause the clip if necessary. Let it all out. Or privately snarky about how played out this whole tick everyone off first shtick is, and let's do this thing. So, the reason to talk about race in
Oh,
video
so it's a
games now
shtick?
is Resident Evil 5. Or rather, the
What? Resident Evil 5 is the okay. I mean, that's one way of starting off a race conversation.
An interesting choice.
Yeah.
Interesting choice.
Kill a bunch of black people. They're zombies. Oh, okay.
He's doing it, guys. He's going for it.
Trailer for Resident Evil 5, which has by now been picked over and analyzed more times than a Cloverfield viral of Lindsay Lohan going down on Tila Tequila as filmed by Abraham Zapruder.
These references
Most luckily
are
unaware of all
dated
this
as fuck.
until now, the trailer was the first real reveal that the anticipated sequel would be relocating the survival horror franchise to Africa.
My initial reaction to that was, hey, that's pretty cool, since it's something you're not expecting. Most horror stories do their business in mundane, ordinary places, to make the scary stuff that much more so. It's something else entirely to drop the zombies, or whatever it's going to be this time, into a region that's often scary enough, but with all the wild animals, crippling poverty, constant civil wars, and an omnipresence of AIDS so thick that the local warlords' roving death squads can cut it with their machetes. Yes, I know. Africa
Where is this in Africa, Bob?
Storied history. But right now, it's one of the last places on Earth most people would be if they could help it. It's sad.
Oh my
it's
God.
tragic, it's largely a long-term byproduct of the grim legacy of colonialism, but it's also a fact. In any case, the trailer features residents of a sun-bleached African shantytown going all 28 days later.
What town? Where is this in Africa? What nation?
Chris Redfield. For
What
the
country are they
uninitiated,
talking about?
Chris Redfield is the whitest video game hero since Guybrush Threepwood, and he's a member of make-believe tactical law enforcement.
What do you mean
Stars.
whitest since
So what we
Guybrush
have here is
Threepwood?
a white guy with a badge gunning down hordes of Africans who are advancing on him like shrieking savages. and I wonder if anyone's going to have a cow about this. Sure enough, by now the question is if anyone won't have a cow. A list that does not include Nguy Kroll, the multi-talented tech writer whose name I'm probably mangling and who manages the video game blog for Newsweek. Wait, stop. Before we get to Mr. Kroll, we might as well once again reiterate that video games come from Japan. And nowhere is that more apparent than in the area of ethnic representation. You see, Japan is...
This was in 2008?
He was woke back then.
Video games don't all come from Japan, I'm quite sure.
Video games all come from Japan.
Guybrush was definitely
every single one.
North Americans. Oh dear.
Fake news.
Remains a large monoracial uniculture. Ergo, the Japanese tend to sort one another out by appearance using a different visual language entirely than the ones we have here in the Western melting pot. For that reason, and a dozen or so others that'd take a whole other video to summarize, ethnic representation in video game characters up until the recent advent of photorealism has tended to fall under the heading of totally vague or cartoonish stereotype. Just how bad did that last one get? In Street Fighter, the only two Japanese guys are a martial artist and a sumo who beats you up in a bathhouse. And it's a Japanese game!
Oh my god.
Rapanese.
It's kind of like he's horrified. He's saying that like it's fine if somebody else, if a Japanese depicts themselves as bad. It's like
I'm not.
Listen, man.
I'm not seeing the problem that a Japanese game or a game that was made in Japan and it has a series of levels throughout the world.
He has a problem. I honestly don't think he has a problem with it. I think he's just saying, hey, they're doing it. Doesn't matter if they're doing it. They do it to themselves.
If that's the case, then that's fine. Then
only.
Yeah, I mean, but what is he trying? This is just weird.
I guess they let themselves off better than India. I mean, Dalsim Stage might as well have a slush puppy machine and a sign indicating his obligation to card for tobacco products.
What?
So it was predictable that someone was going to take exception with what seemed to be going on in the trailer. Sadly, it was also predictable that when Nguy Kroll did voice his opinion, an opinion which I will say up front that I vehemently disagree with, that the trailer seemed to indicate the potential presence of either racism or reflexive subconscious racism that the gamer community was going to react with force and style.
Gamer
roughly
community.
equivalent to the hammer of Thor as wielded by Stimpy. Seriously, guys, nothing but love. But as a group, some of us
The
really
gamer
fucked this one up.
community.
The guy had an opinion, okay? He offered it, and in return, he got a hailstorm of vindictive bile, and in some cases, actual racism thrown at him. That's not cool. Especially since most of his criticism was less about the
That's
game
not
itself,
cool.
which of course neither he nor anyone else has played, and more about how, in his view, it spoke to a certain immaturity of gamers when it came to issues like race. Guys, calling him names makes him look right about that. Once again.
So he's wrong? Is that? We don't even know what he said. It's really.
I think he's partially saying that the black man offered his opinion. People, on a subject to which he is, by the code of social justice, able to talk about due to his race and the fact that they're representing him. And then people just freaked out at him. And he's saying, that's not cool, folks.
Okay, if he said something dumb and people call him an idiot, that's fine, because that's what they think of him as. I want to know what he said, Bob, so that we can understand what the hell you're talking about. It shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, I need a bit more context here.
One sentence would have been fine. It's like, what's the summary of what he said? Give us that. We'll say, okay, what's the big hoopla? And then we'll judge whether this guy is smart or stupid. It's pretty easy to talk about game trailers. It's not hard. Game trailers are easy. They're visual, they're audio, they're quick, they're action packed, or whatever the game is. They're easy to understand. If they're not, then it's, I don't know, some sort of weird, when is Cyberpunk coming out again this year sort of trailers. Oh, it's not November. Okay, great.
I happen Mr. Kroll is incorrect that Resident Evil 5 is or will likely be in some way racist. I mean, you know the bad guys are going to turn out to be rich white dudes anyway. It's Resident Evil. Keep that in mind. It's Resident fucking Evil. This franchise doesn't do challenging subject matter. This isn't Portal. Playing Resident Evil for thematic resonance is like listening to Dragon Force for the lyrics. You can do it and it'll be awesome in its own way, but only if you've got a really solid handle on the concept of ironic appreciation. We know two things. It's set in Africa and Chris Redfield is there, yes? Well, when Chris Redfield is back, there's a 98% chance that Umbrella is back too. So do the plot point math and just get ready for some heavy-handed moralizing about evil Western, read white, pharmaceutical companies are experimenting with medicine on the third world. Yeah, you just wait. That's going to be it. It's going to be the constant gardener, but with zombies breaking up the preachy parts instead of Rachel Weisz's spectacular breasts.
Whoa!
What was I talking about?
Hey there, buddy.
Anyway, the anger was the depressing part of the reaction to Kroll's criticism. The interesting part came in the recurring details, namely the fact that the same critique kept cropping up from annoyed white, generally younger gamers. If I may paraphrase,
OMFG, the only people who talk about racism anymore is black people. Get over it, yo.
And that, folks, is what you call the unwitting prescience of the stupid. Because understanding that gibberish is the key to getting a handle on race, gaming, and the rest of this mess. The first great debate about racism in America was just that, about racism. No one disagreed that racism existed. They couldn't. Everyone saw, realized, and understood what racism was and that it was real. Separate restrooms based on skin color were racism. There's no argument there. The debate was whether or not that racism was bad. The good guys won that debate, won it big. But that didn't mean racism went away. It got smaller, yes, but in many ways that just made it more insidious. No more color-coded drinking fountains or preferential bus treatment, yes, but it was still there. Only now it's not readily visible to everyone, which is a problem. To many, I'd say most white people...
Wait. We're trying to compare a younger white guy's reaction to other people's reaction to a game trailer to Martin Luther King?
I guess so.
And he's saying because it's harder to spot, therefore it's still like, what?
Movie Bob is too smart.
You don't look for logic in a Movie Bob video. Let's be honest.
Stop looking for logic in a Movie Bob video. Random incoherent juvenile crap.
He was doing
happens.
Pretty well.
Fast.
He was like, putting his rage in a certain direction. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're good. This is fine. Stop freaking out over a game trailer. It's like, yeah, you're right. I agree. Now he's like, oh, in the 70s we did this happened. You're like, oh, really?
Crazy's always reserved for the end.
Racism is something that happened in the past. Their parents and grandparents could see the no colored sign back then, but they don't see any now. You don't see the air of unease exuded by store clerks when the wrong type of people walk in.
Oh no, a Movie Bob walked in.
Police stops. So when dumb shits say that racism is only kept around by black people, they're not being duplicitous. Hearing their black acquaintances talk about racism is the only way they've ever encountered it.
How ironic that we just watched a video about a bunch of black people bitching about how another culture was not drawing their race appropriately. Or
Message coming in.
It's like, well,
patching it through.
Kind of just happened there. It's still happening now, Movie Bob, whether the kid was a white young guy or actual black people.
Message coming in. Patching it through.
Here's Joe Crazy. Geeks rise up. Oh boy, who are we rising up against? I don't know.
We're rising up against society, of course. The society that has wronged us.
More waifu stories? I don't know. what would geeks want? I have no idea. Mark in 3D.
They want state mandated girlfriends.
Yeah. Whoa. Oh God, that would be terrifying. Mark in 3D. Can you imagine that? Like, holy crap, that would be terrible.
That'd be stupid.
That would be terrible. How would it work? Like a lottery system or something?
It would have to be something.
No, it
like
wouldn't
that.
work. It would be. This is some sort of utopian future thing. We could have like an anthology sci-fi series. One story would be My State Girlfriend, and it'll be like a clone that you design and you order, and you get it. You're on a really long waiting list because it's like a government thing, and then you get sent the waifu, but the waifu has a bunch of like malware on it that is like spying on you constantly and reporting you to the government for seditious activities and stuff. That'd be a good Philip K. Dick story.
That's actually so. Somebody right.
Yeah, it's probably a manga that we forgot to read because it didn't.
I'm an ideas man. I don't follow through, but I'm an ideas man. You take my idea, you make billions off it.
It's probably something similar. There's so many stories in manga about the robot or the android female girlfriend wife.
Oh yeah,
that comes in the mail. You're like, what the?
No, she comes after she came in the mail.
Yeah. Mark in 3D. Remember, this is Mirror Universe Movie Bob Chad Bob. It's bizarre. He was doing so well and then he just went, whoop, let's go back to the 60s and 70s. Okay. Taker 610. Rachel Weisz can't say no to old Movie Bob. You know, really? Rachel.
That's so funny.
Oh, man.
Old Movie Bob loved titties.
He was honest about it, at least. Joe Crazy. Oh, God, this whole invisible racism BS. Yeah, it's part of the opinion of the younger white boys. Talking about the older or the non-white boys about a game trailer. Remember the reaction to Last of Us Part 2 this year? Oh, boy. Or the trailer? Oh, man, that was... Could have talked about that topic for 2 weeks.
And that's our race problem in a nutshell. Too many black people think racial inequality will never stop. Too many white people think it already stopped 40 years ago. And both of them think the other side is clueless, lying, or both. All that said and admitted, there's another dimension to this, and it's why I have to take exception with N-Guy Kroll's view on the matter. The heart of his and others' criticism of what Resident Evil 5 could potentially be is that the game seems poised to perpetuate certain negative images of Africans, ones going back centuries to the origins of colonialism. The problem with this view, as I see it, is that the negative images they speak of did not originally occur in a vacuum. They were products of their time. They were designed to confirm negative presumptions that the white society already had about the so-called dark continent. They looked at caricatures of
We're not
blacks
a
and said,
different
"Yep,
society.
that's them all right." By contrast, today most gamers look at the RE5 trailer and don't even think about racism until N-Guy Kroll and others brought it up.
Yeah, because we don't give a shit about what color the zombies are. We want it to be accurate to wherever the setting is. We want the setting to change every game so we don't get bored. If it's always like, I'm sick of CIA versus Russian games in first-person shooters. You can't just make the Russians the bad guy in every game. It gets fucking boring. Like, I don't even know what the problem is anymore. It's been so many times. I don't know what problem America has with Russia anymore. So like, there has to be something that's realistic. If you gatekeep who is allowed to be a villain in a game, you're gonna ruin everything and make it propaganda. Then you can't criticize. Then you can't make interesting characters. You can't make stories about people that were wronged by that society. There's all sorts of problems with this sort of editorialization of other people's creativity. If people don't like it, the market will surely destroy them. Trust me.
Movie Bob is actually reasonable. He's not perfect in terms of his ideas, but it's like, hey, I could actually listen to the guy and not hurt my brain because he's calling out people who are saying this is a big deal and it's not. It's like, yeah, I agree. It's a game trailer. Chill.
At least better than how he is now.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. What the hell happened after 12 years? Like, what did he do to go from this to that?
At least we can't. I think, like, I don't know. Like, is for some reason, actually kind of likes Transformers 4. and kind of Transformers 5, even though they're the most
Message coming in.
anti-woke films that have ever been made.
Movie Bob can't deny the titty.
Yeah, I guess so.
Joe Crazy.
Admittedly,
He fears the titty.
Nicola Peltz, I don't find Nicola Peltz attractive. I don't find her attractive in the slightest.
Here is Joe Crazy.
I like that.
Don, you're so objectific. Well, sexist. I don't know.
Sexist.
It's just your opinion.
All right, Joe Crazy.
Got me there.
They are super zombies. Quit looking for something that isn't there. Yeah, I think we all guessed they were zombies. I remember the hoopla about this at the time, and the argument was they're zombies. Who cares what color they are? They're chasing after you like mad crazy people. It's like, yeah, I think it was revealed there's some other strain of the virus that's causing them to be crazy. It's not necessarily zombification. It's something else. I don't remember the story, but there was a twist of some sort.
Twist.
What a twist.
Just
able to look violent, savage, zombie-like creatures who happened to be African and did not make an immediate connection between them and actual black people. Isn't that a good thing? Shouldn't we be celebrating this as evidence that the right side is still winning and things are getting better?
Yes, it would be nice if the gamer community and the country in general...
Yeah, but then we have the argument or the scapegoat that because they're zombies, therefore it doesn't matter. But even if they weren't, it's still just a trailer for a game about a bunch of crazy people coming after you with knives. Of course, Chris is going to defend himself or whatever scenario you're in. So it does not matter if this was in Japan or Europe or Uganda. It doesn't make a difference.
You know the way. The way is zombie.
Was a little more educated about race and its depiction in popular culture. It would be preferable if the kids who didn't see any potential concern in this trailer had perhaps a better background in such things, so they could at least understand the complaint and not be so blindsided by it. But naive though they may be, it's evidence that what they aren't is racist.
Oh shit, he's not calling him racist. He
Holy.
would definitely call him racist nowadays.
This is amazing. It's like Movie Bob is intelligent and reasonable and thinks things through and doesn't jump into political.
He got himself.
What was that?
Tribes.
Yeah, no. Tribes. Well, he's still rambling, but it's like it's reasonable. It's like, yes, we know where you're coming from. It makes sense. What the hell happened? I guess this is why he started off. Well, yeah, there's a bunch of crap that happened throughout the years, but
he's been nuts since 2013. He's been nuts for longer than Trump has been president.
I know, but what I'm saying is that he actually had a following from back then, and it makes sense why. And then he got popular, and then he got on The Escapist, and then that's when he just went nuts. He went like, okay, I'm going to go political now.
Yeah. I just think it's so weird that he never had any criticisms regarding the racism of Transformers 4. Because Transformers 4 is pretty friggin' racist. Well, actually, maybe he was just tired out because the other three were way more racist, I guess, since it's like comparing early Disney racism to like the twins, which is their own unique brand of racism.
The Disney racism, though, is like, oh, look at those poor folks right there. They're just, black people are just, OGs, all shucks. And that's the reason why it's so cringe, you know what I mean? It's like, it's pitying. It's pitying and dismissive. You know what I mean? It doesn't give any respect. That's the reason why I would be upset about that shit.
Exactly.
Caricature is really annoying.
That's the racism of Transformers 4.
It's the subtle racism of reduced expectations.
Golly gee willikers. Where's all the black people gone? Yeah, well.
Oh, gee, golly, I don't know if I want to go to the party tonight, master. Yeah. It's like so fucking, ugh. Makes you cringe.
The only thing that's like super kind of racist is because the Japanese robot has a golden face. Oh. That's kind of the main like nod to race. That's the nod to racism, I suppose.
The hint, the clue,
touch, a flavor,
suggestion,
the seasoning of racism. Still speckled in there.
The golden oriental face.
Then again, Then again, like Michael Bay is racist against white people and Asian people as well, so I just think he just generally hates his audience. And yet they give him money.
It's a go-to thing to do.
Admittedly.
When you're at the cinema and it's like, oh, there's nothing to watch. What I do? Let's watch a crazy, ridiculous explosion fest with transforming robots. Great.
I hate this idea that the modern person goes to do something and there's either the explicit desire for racism or there's the implicit enjoyment of it, as if like that's the common thing. Like, oh, let's go check out this movie. I think the white man will save the black man. That'll be interesting. Like, I don't think anybody does that ever.
Well, we're talking about escapism. You expect some stereotypes to be followed just because it's easier to understand. You're not going to have this very nuanced series of characters from multicultures and being mixed race and this and that and all this other subversion of stereotypes. You need to have something pretty concrete and simple. And that's why we still have terrorists, which are from the Middle East and what have you. So we need some basic cultural understandings so your general audience can go.
This is the problem. Stereotype or description. That's the problem.
You don't have time to describe.
I don't want to stereotype. The cab driver won't be an Indian man, even though there's a bunch of Indian guys driving cab in this era. Okay, fine. It'll be another person. So what's factual? What's going to give you an actual representation? I don't know. And then isn't that dismissing someone whose life actually is like that? If I make a 7-Eleven and there's a bunch of Sikhs there, and it's like, oh, it's this one family runs it. Is that stereotypical or is that accurate? That's what bothers me. What if I actually hire the people that work at the 7-Eleven that actually own the place that I paid to be there, to be in the movie, to represent themselves as characters, saying something that they actually said to me last week? Is that still stereotyping? If it's all what reality is, you know what I mean? Because I feel like I'm constantly being gaslit by stuff.
No, you're just very gassy, Glib.
I'm being gaslit all the time because I was eating those beans.
I'm trying to think.
And the candle was also on the table.
Someone walked up to me and said, "You're racist for eating those beans." I went, "No, I'm sexist. Thank you."
I'm trying to remember the flower shop scene from The Room. Was that lady representative of a flower shop of California in that era? Is that what happens when you walk into a flower shop? There's a little dog there, and she sells you flowers.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, so what? Every person that owns a fucking dryer cleaning place has a dog, and you go, "Hello, doggy." Okay, sure. Stereotype.
There is something beautiful.
It's only a stereotype. By the way, it's only a stereotype if it's negative. If it's positive, then people are like, "Oh yeah, sure, of course." You know what I mean?
Of course.
Like nobody's gonna go, so you're saying that all gamers have big dicks? What a stereotype.
Yeah.
Please stop doing that.
Apparently that was the last scene they filmed, was the flower shop scene in The Room.
Everybody was just bored.
Like, speaking of The Room, The Disaster Artist is one of the funniest books I've ever read. It's insane, like, how much of an idiot Tommy Wiseau is.
He's certainly out there. He might be a genius, though.
Oh, yeah.
Might be, but he's terrible at running film production.
Yeah, anyone who could produce a film like that, it wasn't a high-quality film, but there was definitely a step above the average 70s, 80s B movie.
Message coming in.
So he had some money.
That was what was so weird about it.
It was
somehow he got a film crew to actually shoot real film on nice cameras with nice lenses.
Yeah.
In environments that looked all right. You know, they didn't look bad. They look better than some of the shit I've seen today and these days.
The thing is, he came out in 2003.
I know, it's great.
Okay.
Good old Tommy Wiseau saving us from the racists in movie Bob.
Taker 610. What is a characteristic versus a stereotype? Now, when you're saying stereotype, you're automatically assuming a negative connotation to whatever, but that doesn't have to be negative unless it's represented in that sort of fashion. So if you have like the the Italian stereotype of a guy who's working at a restaurant, he's a busboy or whatever, he's always very chauvinistic. Hey, you know,
hey baby, how you doing?
Hey,
It's me,
yeah.
Paulie the waiter. How you doing? You going out with your girls later? Should come down to the club with me and Pony. With me and my cousin, we go way back. We're connected. You know what I mean? Hey.
yeah, it's kind of a goofy representation.
That's totally realistic.
Which is in some cases true, depending on where you were from in New York. So you might.
All
have had,
Italians are from New York.
Yeah, I know. All the
I'm
Irish
a fucking
Italians.
Guido.
Right. So,
Mamma Mia, olive oil.
so it depends on what it's trying to do. Is the stereotype trying to show a scene of conflict between the heroine and she's trying to have a relationship with the hero, and this guy's getting in the way, and that's the point. So it's just seen as a throwaway conflict, as a throwaway scenario, which is fine because it's just a thing to get in the way of the other thing you have to do. Could it be done better? Yes, but that would take more time, and that's not the point of the story. The story is a romance. So you don't care about this random Italian that pops up and says some weird shit. You want to focus on the relationship or the problem she's going through in her head. What do I do with this guy who's suddenly coming on to me really strong when I'm coming on to this other guy and he's not interested in me, but I think he might be. And it's like this big problem with women of how do I appear attractive to my target, the thing I like. The characteristic, which is the focus of the element of the personality, which we have to learn about. So is she trying too hard? Is she sensitive about being attractive to other people? Is she not aware of that? Is she naive? So we're focusing on that element. The problem is that is essentially the same thing if we're talking about the stereotype of the very sexually aggressive Italian. That is a factor of Italians. They are very passionate in talking to women. Some of them, they don't even talk to them. They just grab them and kiss them because that's just part of their culture, I guess. I was never born in Italy, but I've heard multiple stories of women who have gone to Italy of various ages, and they're men who just get off their motorcycles, run across the street, and just grab women and kiss them. I know it sounds bizarre.
Mamma mia!
I know it sounds crazy, like assault.
Chads?
But that's what happens.
Chads?
Okay?
What chads?
Oh, yeah.
That's a stereotype. That's a stereotype that never happens. Nothing ever happens. There's nothing negative about my culture. My people are the best ever. We're the master race.
So obviously, women are going to react to that in a very different fashion depending on the scenario.
It's always the minority culture that screams about stereotyping.
Like there's some great stereotypes out there. Like the Sikh community are fantastically nice people. All the Sikh people I've met in Canada,
Yeah, exactly.
are super nice, super kind, very accepting, very rational and well thought through. And their religion is very chilled. It's one of the nicest. I don't know about it, but everything they talk about, what they're taught, is very friendly. So that's very common, and that's a stereotype.
It's a stereotype that they're nice. Some of them are pieces of shit. Like this kind of thinking is just stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean.
Yeah.
So it's really why you're using it, and is it easier and faster to use a stereotype for the element or effect you're going for? And most often it is, and that's why it's great. Everyone can identify it. Oh yeah, that's totally a terrorist. He's from the Middle East. Yeah, of course. Yeah, everyone knows that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they think. They think people look at somebody dressed up in like Arab gear and go, "That's a terrorist." You know what I mean? Oh, he's Muslim. So what kind of country does he want to bomb? It's so funny. Like that's not how people think, really. The thing that a stereotype or something that you're trying to put, whatever it is, a descriptor that you're trying to put into a story is, are you trying to do it for the truth, or are you trying to lie about something?
Message coming in.
Are you trying to enlighten people and
Patch
give
it
them
through.
information that might give them another perspective, or are you trying to propagandize to them?
Yeah, and there's plenty of
That's how I look at
stories. I remember reading from people who have sent in their scripts. It was a terrorist plot story, and the terrorists were mostly from the Middle East, but they were fleshed out. So you can focus on these elements and then make them more than just a stereotype, but then you're no longer talking about the stereotype. You're talking about the childhood or the relationships that this person had, and there's more to it than why they want to blow up Americans or whatever. It's not just in praise of Allah and to destroy the infidels. So that is where you say, okay, that's the focus of my story or my focus of my antagonist, and why. So characteristics of personality still have to be developed, whether they're stereotypical or not, unless they're seen as a hurdle to overcome in like a mini boss. You don't need to in a video game. You don't need to know the background story of a mini boss or a side character unless it really is relevant. And I would argue you need proper exposition for the thing you're going for, and sometimes you don't. So you give the characters the moments they deserve, and then ultimately get rid of them if you don't need them anymore. Very similar to Chekhov's gun. You fire the gun, get rid of the gun. You don't need the gun. You don't need more bullets. Stop. Throw it away. Keep going. Continue on with what you're trying to do. So, Ticker 610. Smud describing how Mario met Peach. Hey, princess. Hey, look at me. I'm a plumber. Hey, I go through pipes. Gonna save your Mushroom Kingdom.
Multiple ways. That could be taken multiple ways.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was 3 videos. Very quick. 2 hours and a half. Not bad, guys. Very good points. Wow. What a movie Bob experience. That was great. I didn't know he made videos like that. Well, back in the day, movie Bob was reasonable. It's amazing. All right. So what I'm going to be doing from now on, I'm going to be changing some of the rules in the Discord. I'm going to be allowing you guys to vote on what to come next. And that is, I'm going to see
Give it to you, the people.
Just to see how...
power back to you!
Just to see how the rest of Smudcast reacts. And if I can't get the Smudcast to join in, I'm going to ask you fellows who voted to join us. Obviously, I'll have to talk to you first and make sure your mic is good and you can hear me and connections are fine, that sort of thing. So, want to get more involvement? That's one way to do it. Hopefully get more people on the Discord as well, talking about what to cover, because there's lots of topics you guys don't like that we love, and vice versa. So we got to be very careful about that. I don't want to bore people. I don't want Shiny losing sleep because we have to talk about Maggie May Fish anymore, or
what if they just
suffer?
What if they just vote and say, "Hey, we want more Maggie May Fish. We want more Maggie May Fish."
Then we'll have to change things up.
If they vote for endless Maggie May Fish, I may have to sign my resignation.
Resignation.
Fuck that word up. Shut up. I'm tired. It's midnight.
Go to bed then.
Yeah.
Resignation.
We're gonna go one more super chat, call it a night, and then I'll
send Shiny to bed.
Yes. I'll press a button. Boop.
Boopity dope.
Evergiants. Has it ever been racist or appropriation every time Bart exclaimed "Ay caramba"?
Yes. The answer is always yes to those questions because it furthers the agenda. The big agenda, the big secret. Spooky.
The big gee.
Is that a California thing? Where did that originate from anyway? Ay caramba.
Ay caramba?
Well,
I don't know.
Back in
I believe that's Hispanic.
Well, yeah, but I mean, who was was it in a movie? Like, did someone make it popular?
Phrase in Spanish. I think it's an actual Spanish phrase that got popular and like just kind of is ubiquitous across anything that has a Hispanic character. Hispanic or Mexican character.
All right.
G.I. Joe Sigma 6.
Sounds cool to me.
Yeah. Sigma 6 long range is Mexican, so he says "Ay caramba" quite frequently. So
same with like
probably just
with the
Ay caramba.
With the whole surfer culture, with the Ninja Turtles, that sort of thing. Where did it originate?
Grab shell, dude.
Yeah, like California slang, that sort of thing. Either that or skater slang. It's one of those. So
Cowabunga.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. I'm just curious. But yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with using these things, especially when you're talking to kids in cartoons or as a cartoon who are just learning slang. I mean, we did that when I was a kid. No big deal. We all did, I think, learning terms. That's how the word cool came about, or ass, or gay, or all these other wonderful words we've got that are amazing. And
the big gay.
Yeah, we're still using them. They're that good. All right, so I'm going to switch up some of the Discord. I'll tell you guys on the community tab to join and for our next Smudcast. And if I can't get everyone involved, I will definitely reach out to you and say, do you want to come on Smudcast? We'll have a little chat. Make sure you're into the topic. I don't want to bore anyone. I don't want people to come on that don't want to be on. I always apologize. And no one's being forced to come on at all. It's always having a good time. But
Shiny is when it comes to Maggie May Fish, though I think he chickened out at the last one.
Everyone has their thresholds. That's totally fine. I don't mind.
I don't like old Maggie May Fish. I don't like her.
She is.
I don't like her either, but my threshold is like very, very high. I just don't care. It's just funny.
She is a special case.
She must be defeated with the in debate about whatever. I don't even know what she just is one of these, word salad buzzword factories that just complains. This doesn't have enough of this in it. This isn't like this, and it's not a quality thing. Again, it's not about if it's well done. It's not about the mechanics of it. It's just about aesthetics of identity.
It's emotion. It's
TSL
politics.
Is a fascist.
It's oh god, no. It's mostly politics. I think it's politics and SJW isms that she's really ingrained in, and it's just you sit there and you're like, wow, she doesn't stop.
We should watch her. We should watch your Fight Club one next month.
Yeah,
for
I thought
the month.
I thought that would be a good next one, just because I love Fight Club, and I thought that'd be for such a strong masculine premise of a story and elements. She'd go crazy. She'd like shrivel up and burn away. so many masculine elements. So yeah,
She's gonna go with Fight Club is fascist. She's just gonna go with that.
Oh yeah, it's fascist. Oh god, give me a break.
No, it's gonna be that Tyler is really homosexual, and it's like all about his inner feelings of
inner homosexuality. Is that it? He loves himself.
I have watched the whole thing, and I don't think homosexuality gets brought up anywhere other than it's
really
homophobic. Maybe
so
like
it's fascism.
Homophobic. Yeah, so it's about like how Fight Club is fascism and terrorism.
What?
his anarcho-primitivist idea is fascism.
Yep.
That's pathetic.
Message coming in.
Really pathetic.
Patching it through.
It's just like people appropriating the red pill for like red pill right-wing people. Same thing, I guess.
Oh dear. Well, it's a great book and a great movie, so everyone should check it out. Anyway, Taker 610, Maggie is why they say don't put it in crazy. Yeah, it's pretty much it. That's a stereotype. Wow, that is a perfect stereotype for Maggie May. Yeah, she is nuts.
Live by. That is a proverb to live by.
Oh yeah, that's a very good rule. Very good rule, gents. Watch yourself out there. Well, I mean, now this year I don't know if there's anything to watch, but good luck if you can get it. But watch yourself. All right, okay. I'm going to call it a night. Thanks, guys, for joining. Suggestions, always the suggestions part of the Discord. And I'll be posting you soon on voting for the next Smudcast. And if it doesn't become a Smudcast, there's always Smud Talk. We're a little more off the cuff, and we could focus on a particular element. Like if Glib wants to talk about, I don't know, Western film genres nowadays.
I want to talk about Charmander, Bulbasaur, or Squirtle. What's the best starter Gen 1 Pokemon? That's what we're going to be talking about.
Oh, you should ask Voice. He was playing Pokemon in his stream 2 days ago.
Well, I eagerly await the day where Smud tears apart my book.
Yeah, slowly getting through
no.
it. Yeah.
Oh no.
My notes are about 2 columns worth so far. 2 pages, 2 columns of a spreadsheet on Google Sheets. So.
Good or bad?
No, they're just notes. There's a few bad points, but that's mostly grammar and paragraph structure. But that's fine. That's typical of books. But that's what editors do. We look at problems like that mechanically. But pacing's fine. Not fast, not slow. It's a typical fantasy novel that's written by someone who knows what they're doing. But obviously, you could tell it was written a while ago because it feels different than what I read from you earlier. So, Yeah, no, don't worry, I'll get there. I got other stuff happening in my life, unfortunately, and I want to keep the channel going with good content, and that's definitely one thing I want to talk about. So, good night, everyone.